Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, your paranormal portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. Hello, gatekeepers. Welcome in, all you lovely people I see out there. I love it when I come in and you guys are talking and having a good time, welcoming each other in. And how was your day? Did you get the car fixed? I mean, I'm making stuff up off the top of my head. I'm paraphrasing the chat. Can you believe it? Just after we spent, almost 3 hours last night talking about lying. Here I go starting. Welcome in. Everybody's welcome here. As long as you're chill, enjoy the chat, enjoy the people here. You find some wonderful people here. I'm telling you right now. Welcome each and every one of you. Tonight we're going to have some fun. Got my friend on tonight. I love when I have this gentleman on. But first I wanted to ask you, please hit the like, share it out if you can. We are doing some fun stuff tonight. It's cryptids. It's not something that I'm is prominent, in my file cabinet, in my closet. When I open it up, all kind of paranormal stuff falls out and all kinds of things, and herbs and sage sticks and crystals and black cats and all kinds of things running out, bats flying. But I don't know a whole lot about, gosh, how could you know everything about all the cryptids? There's cryptid people that I'm sure are very strong in certain departments, but to know each and every one, doesn't one pop up like every other season or something? Sometimes a couple at a time. Hey, Travis, welcome. Good to see. I was just thinking of you yesterday. See, this is what I'm talking about. And they tell you that you're not, that we're not connected. We certainly are. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So anyway, let me get Steve in here. This is Steve Stockton. If you don't know him by now, well, then pull up a chair and get to know him, because he's wonderful. He's an author. He does fantastic podcasts. He's got a great team. Missing people. Now, if I hear anything, it goes right to him. He's so many links on the chain, because I like Appalachia, Old Wives' Tales, stories from black-eyed kids to shadow people, and the three-toed sloths from Kalamazoo. I know who to call, and that would be my number one contact, Mr. Steve Stockton here. Are you ready? Do I have a thumbs up? What would I ever do if you went thumbs down? I just have to
You'd
do
be
a song and
SOL, I
dance.
think.
I'd have to do a song and dance. I think I'd come up with something to me.
How's everybody doing tonight? Who we got here?
shadow.
Kathita's
I'm
here,
tap
Henry
dancing, you can't
Nelson,
tell.
Lulu Bell, Travis DeLuca, Dimensional
Hit it,
Horse. Did I get everybody? Salvador Soto.
Salvador was here first. Salvador was first.
Uncommon Belief, Dimensional Horse, Gory
Hey, Uncommon.
Tiger.
Hey, Henry.
I think that's everybody
Tiger,
that I
Travis,
see. If I missed you, it wasn't intentional. If I said hello twice, count yourself lucky.
Lulu Bell.
Go pick some
Cat.
lottery numbers.
Cat
How
had
you doing,
company
everybody?
last night. Missed our
Full moon tonight. It's the blue moon. It's the sturgeon supermoon.
moon.
And less than 3 weeks till baby day.
3 weeks. The little man is a blue moon tonight.
So tonight it'll be,
Cheers,
tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks and 6 days. We got an OB appointment tomorrow, so we'll know a little bit more. Can you hear me okay? I can't.
I hear you just fine.
Your music was like really loud.
I
just had my headphones hanging up over here, and I could hear it coming out of the headphones like it was coming out of the speakers. So I had to turn it down. There, I turned it back up.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I don't mash buttons. If somebody comes over and helps me set stuff, I'll put Scotch tape on. I don't move
hear better.
I don't move dials.
Tape that button down.
Steve, it's already getting chai tea. season. Have you gone to
It
pumpkin
is.
spice yet? I had pumpkin spice
I
donuts the
have.
other
I've
day. I'm telling you,
got some
fall
here.
is here, and I
They
can't
got
figure it out.
this in pumpkin spice, but I got some nice
Yep,
iced coffee here. But it's coming. August 27th. Dunkin' Donuts is bringing back
the pumpkin.
pumpkin spice for the season. But I was in the grocery store. We have Shaw's out here. It's like a Albertsons. It's the same family supermarkets. They've got their Halloween candy out.
Really?
I have Walmart stuff delivered through their app. I opened up the app. They've got all their Halloween stuff in the app and in the store. It's here. It's
Great.
not even the end of August yet, and we're
It
ready.
feels it outside. I'm
I've
telling you,
already, I said
spring
it's
things
never
bloomed
too
early.
early to start celebrating spooky season.
Look,
So I released a special Halloween disappearances over on my channel yesterday.
here
So
we go.
I'm ready for it.
Happy
Got my
Halloween.
Halloween
Happy
decorations up
Halloween.
here. You can't see,
Happy
but I got
Halloween.
leaves, pumpkins. It's been all stormy and rainy
We're
here and
ready.
kind of
We are
cool weather.
ready.
The leaves are starting to turn here in New England, just a tiny bit, just a tinge, but they're starting to turn.
Yep.
And
We're
the
almost
weather is getting
ready.
down. Only
We've got.
71, going to get down in the 60s. It's on the way. It's inevitable. You can't stop it. The Halloween freight train is
They're
headed your way.
practicing. They're practicing. Look. Can you see? Can you see
Yeah,
the screen?
yeah, I can see that.
They're practicing.
Is
This
that
this
you and
little
your cats
this little
there?
this little guy. This
I
little
like
guy is getting
the
ready.
guy,
I
the
love him. He's my
little
favorite.
pumpkin head guy. You know the one I'm talking about from the TV station or whatever, the dancing pumpkin guy.
Oh yeah. I think I do. I don't have him. I
You
have
don't have
her.
him.
I love her. She's my fave.
Uh,
She's
he's
coming
my
around.
favorite.
Halloween
I
what?
thought his head was
Halloween
that
what?
little, but actually he's got a little pumpkin mask on. If you
Halloween
notice,
what?
he's wearing a black outfit.
Yep.
But
Yep.
he's really
I
throwing
just
down there.
this is very well done. This is well done. It's probably out of a video game or something. Who
Something
knows?
like that.
But man, oh man, they need to put more stuff like this out. I'll take them all.
But
Just give them to me.
Halloween, of
I'll
course,
sort them.
my birthday, Halloween,
Yep.
celebrate every year.
Yep.
Mother's birthday, Halloween.
Gosh, little man will be about a month. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
we've already got him a
Woo!
costume.
First
I'm not
Halloween,
going to
little
give it away.
pumpkin.
He's
Little
got
pumpkin.
probably an outfit for every day in October. That's kind of what we're aiming for. I do the 31 nights of Halloween.
Yep.
So our
Well, let me
idea
know.
is to get him.
You got
31
another one
outfits.
coming. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know
And
the deal.
We've
But you
got
got
an
another one coming.
Amazon registry. If you want to send the little man something, I
Cat,
drop a
throw
link
that
in
up
here.
here while we're talking about it.
Cathed's got it. But yeah, if you want to send Halloween outfits,
this is what I caution everybody, because here's the deal. What if he's, listen, those last 2 weeks tell all.
Yeah, he can really.
He could wind up being a 15-pound baby. We don't know.
Yeah, he's already at a week ago tomorrow. He was right at 7 pounds. So I don't know, and he's gotten bigger. He's riding lower. I don't think he's going to go.
He's gotten bigger. He's riding like that. It's a country song. Somebody write it down. Write it down.
Getting bigger and riding lower. But I don't think he's going to go another 3 weeks. I give him 2, and usually it's right around the full moon.
Get here when,
and this being a super moon and everything, he could be here within just a few days. But the longer he stays in there, the better off he'll be.
Just let your wife make him as long as she feels fit in him.
Stay in the oven as long as he feels.
You can ramble all you want, but you really don't have a say in the mess. You don't have a say in the mess. You'd be lucky if they let you in the room. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be there for the birth.
I know. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
I'm going to cut the cord.
It's that one thing that women can say. Look, the story, and I'll give you the short one. I remember when my first husband leaned into me. I was in I was in the Army hospital anyway. It had been a long labor. And when I say long, I mean, it was a couple of days. It was crazy. So don't make me explain. We don't want to go down that road tonight. So anyway, he leans into me and he said, "It's going to be okay. You've got to stop cussing." And I went, I'm like this. I'm like, he got closer and I grabbed that man by that great big old bushy mustache. And I just made a grip and I just pulled. And I'm like, and he started screaming. I went, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I've heard it described, giving birth is described as, for you men in the audience, give this a try. Take your lip, upper lip, and pinch it just as absolutely hard as you can. Just pinch. Pinch more. and then stretch it over the back of your head, and then you'll
Yep.
get an idea of what birth
Yep.
is like.
Big
Yeah.
baby already. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I
Yep.
think I'm going to weigh in around 8 or 9 pounds, and
Is it chilly?
I have a pool going. Whoever guesses the weight, let's see the date, the day, the hour, and the weight, and gets the closest, all three. Then that's the tiebreakers and everything are in there. You'll
Mm,
get a signed set of
mm.
books. There's only three of them here, but I'll
I'm
send
sorry, I
you.
was reading the chat. What did you say? You've
I'll
got a calendar now with the
send you
dates on it?
five. We're doing a pool. Nicole's
Okay.
taking screenshots when I'm in
Oh,
these chats and stuff. But
okay. All right, here's my date. Wait a
the
minute.
day,
Hold on.
the hour, and the weight, and whoever's
That's a
closest
lot.
on all three of those will get
All right.
a set of signed books from me. Sorry, United States only. I might make an exception and send them overseas, but it costs a lot of money to send books overseas. But you might, if you're out of the country, you might get a digital versions of them and something else. But here in the States, I'll send you 5 of my books signed and some stickers and bookmarks and all kinds of stuff.
You want AM, PM, and the hour, or just AM,
Yeah,
PM? You want the hour as well?
The day, or the day and date, the date, the time. Yeah, you can put to the minute, even to the second, in the case of a tiebreaker, and the weight, pounds and ounces, and like if only one person gets the date, then you won. But if like 2 people got the date, then the person closest
That's
to the
supposed to be
time.
3 ounces, Steve. I want take backs. Not
Okay,
30 ounces.
September
That's supposed to be
17th,
3.
10
So I'm
pounds,
gonna
30 ounces, 3 ounces. Okay.
That's supposed to be 3.
Nicole,
Here,
screenshot
here,
that. So
screenshot. Wait a
September
minute, Nick.
17th,
Wait, let me fix it, Nick.
10
Hold on.
pounds, 3
Hold on.
ounces, 11 p.m. And what's the 01?
Oh, what? Because I was a big Price Right. I was a Price is Right baby. I was a latchkey kid. So
Okay,
you always put an 01 for the tiebreaker.
11:01 p.m.
Oh, what?
Yeah, somebody will come along behind you and say 11:02, and then they
Well,
would win if they had.
be that as it may, that's mine. I'm sorry, guys. I'm eating toast. I
The first
apologize.
is the
but my
date,
stomach-
September 17th. If nobody else picks the 17th and he's born on the 17th, you win.
Mhm. I win either way.
2
I'm
or
his
more
godmama,
people pick
so
the
I'm
7th,
just
that's
doing
right.
this for
Cisco's
fun.
one of the godparents. She's the godmother, the fairy godmother.
Fairy godmother, you better look out.
And then if 2 people pick the 17th, and then if they each picked like 10 pounds, 12 pounds, and he's 10 pounds, then you would win. It's just, it goes like that. So that's including
There you go.
tiebreakers and everything.
Okay, here's
Lulu
another
Bell,
one.
September
This one's
24th.
mine. This one's mine with the
Just
side of 3.
Little
3
secret
ounces,
for
not
everybody,
3.
though. Just no wagering there, but they won't let him go past the September 9th. That's 40 weeks maximum.
We'll make
right
mine
there.
the 7th then.
Okay.
All right. Well, since I have to overhaul my entire thing, do you see why I don't get into these things?
Yeah.
I mess them up. I can't follow
I
rules.
forgot to say that.
I
The
can't follow
projected
rules.
due date is
If you're going to be
September
changing
9th,
them while we're playing the game,
but they
Steve,
won't
I just
let
don't
him go
know.
beyond that because that's 40
All right.
weeks.
I have to redo this whole damn thing now, Mr. Sam. I have to pull over the entire podcast.
Yeah,
You
have
see?
to stop, put it in the ditch
Here we
for
go.
a minute, and then
All right. Okay. Let's do it one more
retool
time.
here.
We'll see if we can get it right this time. What did I say the first time?
So
Okay.
you could say September.
Okay. And then I want
9 back.
I want it 3 ounces.
3 ounces. Oh, 10 pounds, 3 ounces. I was going to say.
Yes. Stop
You've already
messing with me.
lost.
Do you see? I think I'm being hindered. Are you trying to throw me in this contest, Mr. Stockton?
No, I didn't say I would make it easy for people.
I tend to
win.
hinder it.
I'm giving away books. I'm
see
going
a
to make it
hindrance.
as hard as possible.
Well, meanwhile, other people are putting theirs and they're going off of mine. They're cheating.
No, there's Henry.
All right,
August
hold on.
22nd, 3 a.m.
Here we go.
5
11.
pounds. There you go.
01 p.m. That's as close to my original as I can get it without.
And Kathita's got 7.
All right, are you going to change it again?
Pounds.
Are we rolling
September
like this
2nd,
now? All right,
11:30 and 33 seconds. So
there's
that's,
mine.
Getting those tiebreakers into there. Cisco's September 7th, 10 pounds,
Man,
3 ounces,
wet.
11:01 p.m. You got it.
I'm gonna need more tea.
And I
Maybe
hope
this is a
Nicole
chai
is
tea. Maybe
screenshotting
that's
all
why I'm
these.
sweating. This is very fallish. It's very super chai or something.
Dimensional horse, September 5th, 9:03 p.m., 7.5 pounds. And I'm thinking about, I'm going to be there at the hospital the whole time. I'm thinking about, like, as it's getting close,
Look, somebody.
I'll
Oh,
wait until he's born, and then I'll do a live stream, and I'll give you the exact time and everything. But he's gonna make his debut
well, that's
either
not
on
going to be
Cisco's
the thing on our
show
mind.
or on Lee G's show, depending on
Whichever's
what day
close.
he's born. Whichever's closest.
You can always
And,
go live from the vending machines or something
Yeah,
out in the
well,
hallway.
that's
Live from the vending
third.
machines at hospital
That's the
such and
third
such.
option. No, I've already been told I cannot leave the room, so
Yeah. Well,
I'll
I
be
don't blame
there.
you.
But
I
I
don't
go
blame you. I
live
would.
from my phone, and I've got a little
Unless you have
tablet and
Marines,
things
you
I'm
can
going to
post
take.
out the front door.
So I could go briefly. I could do it on Missing Person Mysteries, Tales Untold, anywhere. But his official debut will either be on your channel or on Lee's channel. He'll be on both. I
Look
can't
forward
wait
to
to
it.
take him on Lee's, and I'm not going to mute my mic, and Lee's going to try to be playing and singing, and you'll hear wah, wah, wah. Stockton, mute your mic. Quiet that baby. Sorry, Lee. Ain't happening.
Well, just,
Look,
there's lots of things to do there. It's hard to make plans with babies. It's just, you do what you can. You don't ever use what you think you're going to use. The stuff that you go about just trust me.
Yeah, just pick a time, Lulu Bell. That's like the last ditch tiebreaker there, in case somebody else has the same date and time.
Yeah.
But
no. Well, are you getting
Lulu
them all?
Bell's got September 5th, 10 pounds, 1 ounce.
Stuff.
And just throw time up there. D-Rock's got September 4th, 9.3 pounds, 4:30 a.m.
Virgo.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a Virgo. Well, he'll have to be a Virgo. Anyway. Yeah,
it is a lot of numbers. Look how I did mine. It took me like 5 or 6 tries. I'm leaving it as is now. I'm not changing.
Day/dates.
I can't tell you what day that's going to fall on. Now, see, changing the rules again.
No, the date.
Now you're adding in the day. I have to tell you the day.
The weight and the time.
Okay.
And then we'll
but
go
not like Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, because
it would coincide with whatever date you picked. So that's already a given.
I can't know that ahead of time.
So the date, the weight, and the time, whatever order you want to do it in, but that's what we'll go by.
You can use mine as a template if you want. Now that I fixed it,
just a little bit of fun.
You can use mine as a template. Feel free. That was fun. All right. So what the hell are we talking about?
Swamp monsters, I think.
So speaking of swamp monsters, I almost made a T-shirt
dinner today. I was cooking dinner, and I've got a big steamer that I was going to steam some vegetables in.
Something come alive out of it?
I put the steam basket in there. I started it, and I've got the chicken thighs in the oven. I've got cornbread cooking. I've got what else did I make? I don't remember what else I made. I had I was boiling those little yellow Dutch potatoes, and I forgot to put the zucchini and summer squash in the steamer. It went off. I opened it up, and there's nothing in there. How'd that happen? So dinner was about 10 minutes late. But it was
haunted zucchini.
Baby brain.
It was just I poured it out. It just poured it back into the refrigerator.
Oh, look at Travis DeLuca there. He's stepping out. August 27th, 11:52 p.m., 8.2 pounds.
All right. I'm choosing my birthday. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. The Dawn, welcome in. So, swamp monsters. Oh, speaking of swamp monsters, I almost made Little Man a T-shirt, and I might still. And I forget how I was going to word it, but it went something along the lines of, don't even think about it. My godmother will curse your entire bloodline. And I'm like, no, we're serious. It's kind of like when I used to have this beautiful chow shepherd, solid black, beautiful. You could look at this dog and tell what was shepherd and what was chow. The neck, the blue tongue, the blue,
Would it be
and people used to ask me, he was amazing, but a bouncy tail, and people would come up and ask me, does he bite? I'm like, yes. It's just, I don't know what else to tell you. Yes, he does. Please don't, I don't ever go up and just approach dogs real quick. You learn that at a young age, you just ask. But you'd be surprised when you tell the truth. It's just, please, yes, don't just come at me. And, of course, I didn't do a lot of bringing him into crowds either. Yeah. We're over there minding our own business. People just come, oh, look, a dog. Oh, my God, does he bite? Yes, he does. Well,
and he will gleefully bite you. I've had
Yep.
people do that with Mulder. I've had Mulder put people across the road. Dogs are a good
Hello,
judge of
Bebop.
character. Animals are. Somebody looking at him, and
You can't just jump at,
he likes the UPS guy because the UPS
yeah,
guy's got treats. He's got a box of treats.
yeah.
He likes him.
You can't just jump at,
He
and
can be
then
persuaded.
there's animals that'll just know your true character. Let's put it that way. Mine used to I used to very quietly and didn't tell anybody. And I would watch, as we were picking crews at, like, say for the, in spring when you're doing a construction crew, and the dog like doesn't like somebody. Hey, that's beautiful. I'm like, nope. Yeah, don't hire him. One time we went against it, no joke, but I would put the word in and didn't tell the old man what was going on. Anyway, one time I didn't, and sure enough, turned out to be a big old bad pick. Let's just put it that way. A problem, trouble, probably thieving, just a criminal, pain in the butt. So, animals, don't ever go against what your animals say. And that goes into paranormal too. That's why I put that in Cabin 22, where Rage was barking at the corner and Dave knew enough to, what is it, Rage? What's going on? What do you see? And he's feeling the spot. It was cold. Mary pulled back his hand and it was like ice cold. And it was, but they pay attention to the animals, especially if you're in the woods, right, Steve?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go someplace and, your dog doesn't want to go down take a certain turn, don't do it. Just don't do it. So what we're talking about tonight is swampy things. I guess that goes along with what we were just talking about.
Yeah. And I wrote a little piece here that
that is so cool.
I'll read. Just so open it up. Let me know when you're ready, and I will orate for
you. Oh, absolutely. Now I put up what you sent me, pretty much. Yeah, made it into slides.
Yeah.
Yes, I put it into slides. And I also have a little video, and I have a couple of surprise videos.
I kind of added missing people in there too, sort of, kind of.
Oh, well, I love it. I think it should be. So there's quite an array of different things. Now, what surprised me going into this, now, again, I'm going in, I admit it when I don't, something isn't my forte and I'm learning, I might know a little bit of this, a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, but not, not a wide, broad brush. So what I found surprising to me, and I think we touched on this before when we were talking about the Mothman and such. And each, he's seen in other places. However, we're not putting it together because everybody's got a different name for him. Does that make sense? Or close to it anyway. Might be a similar creature. So I think this is true in this case as well, because I was very surprised when I was hearing certain things like, the champ from the Lake Champlain monster. And that happens, it very well might just look like a Bigfoot. You see what I mean? Yeah. This is where I'm going. And now certain ones, granted, like when we were touching on the werewolves and the Rougarous and the dogmen and all that kind of stuff, I think that the area in which it is has a big, of course, because look at the difference between the Yeti, the abominable snowman, and, or whatever other names you want to call it, because in Japan they have one and there's different names all over. But between that and the Bigfoot, say in upstate New York or, wherever, named Alaska even, wherever. But they're different, and that's going to be different from the ones in Louisiana, in the swamp. You know what I mean? But they're a creature of their surroundings, and I think that's going to have a definite effect. But I think they're more.
Maybe they're just a product of their environment and they're misunderstood.
I think that's 100%. Thank you for winding that up like seriously, that. But it's true. But the different names, you see what I mean? Like, Champ, the Lake Champlain, and then you got
swamp, you got tendrils and algae and stuff hanging off of you. How could you not be pissed off?
Well, let's exactly. So, did you want to say something to open it up, or do you want to talk about a specific one?
Opening statement here.
Okay,
swamp monsters and missing people.
Okay.
The combination of swamp monsters and missing people often fuels speculation and legends, particularly in areas with vast unexplored wetlands like the Florida Everglades or the swamps of Louisiana. While there's no concrete evidence linking missing person cases to these mythical creatures, the idea captures the imagination and taps into primal fears. Now, there's two different concepts there that intersect. Here's a breakdown of it. Folklore and legends. The stories of swamp monsters like the skunk ape or the wampus cat often include tales of them snatching unsuspecting victims who venture too deep into their territory. These legends serve as cautionary tales and reinforce the dangers of the wilderness, especially if you're small or don't know what you're doing or both. And then unexplained disappearances in remote areas, it's not uncommon for people to go missing without a trace. So when conventional explanations fall short, the possibility of a supernatural entity, such as a dogman or a Bigfoot or a Rougarou or anything, becomes a tempting, albeit unproven, theory. So fueling this mystery, the lack of clear answers in missing person cases, combined with the eerie atmosphere of swamps, I mean, think about it, can create a fertile ground for speculation about creatures lurking in the shadows. And again, this further fuels the mystique surrounding swamp monsters and their potential connection to disappearances. Now, it is important to emphasize that while these stories are intriguing, there is no scientific evidence supporting the existence of swamp monsters or their involvement in missing person cases. There are eyewitness sightings. People know what they saw. But law enforcement agencies and search and rescue teams focus on practical explanations and thorough investigations to solve these missing persons mysteries. See what I did there? So in conclusion, the association between swamp monsters and missing people is rooted in folklore, the human fascination with the unknown, and the enduring power of what I'm doing right here, storytelling. While it's essential to remain grounded in reality, these tales serve as a reminder of the wilderness's allure and potential dangers, encouraging all of us to respect its boundaries and tread carefully when exploring the depths of the wilderness. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. I wrote that just before we went on.
Yep, on the back of an envelope on a train on the way to give the speech. I love it. I love it. So, and I agree with all of it. Except, like, I'd like to add the caveat, except for the ones that aren't. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like all the missing people, and things like that.
They could be.
Oh, that's probably natural things.
Bigfoot
Some
get
of
them?
this, some of
Did
this,
the
some of
swamp
that.
monster got them? That makes just as much sense as anything, especially in some of these cases where there is no explanation.
Right.
And I've had people ask me that. Is it the Fae? Is it Bigfoot? Is it UFOs? Is it portals? Is it Dogman? Is it time slips and the Matrix and aliens? Yes. The short answer, yes. It's all the above. It could be any one of
Jim
those.
Morris used to say that when you asked him about the JFK shooting. He said, did the CIA do it? The FBI do it? The Secret Service do it? Did the big oil? Did the thing? Did this company do it? Did this, mayor, governor, whatever cabinet member? Yes. I love the people. I love it. I love it. I love it. Especially if there's a new conspiracy that's getting like even say brief attention, where everybody's trying to sort it out, and you have these people that are just like these real big alpha types and stuff, and they come in and go, listen, let me tell you something. There's no way there's going to be a conspiracy, because too many people would have to know. So you're saying that everybody in the office building knew, everybody on the telephone call knew, everybody on the street knew, all the cops knew on the street, the guy on the corner knew, the wife knew, the grandkids, the cousin. No, just the guy on the phone that tells the one guy to turn like this, that guy knew, and he did what he was told.
And I had somebody come at me on one of my channels the other day. It was a conspiracy I had about the smiley face killers or some things like, there's no way that could happen. That many people can't keep a secret. And I said, oh, so you've never heard of the Manhattan Project? He's like, well, you've heard of it, so it's not a secret. But back then it was a secret. My parents worked together on the Manhattan Project. There would be people, like if you were at a dance in the town square, a town that didn't exist on a map, and you whispered what you were doing or what you were doing, then they would take you in the next day. They had spies everywhere.
That much.
You were not allowed to talk about anything.
And in case of the JFK thing, so many people popped up and did know. Then why didn't anybody come out and say, do you have any idea what that list? That list is almost as long as the Clinton hit list.
Yeah.
Almost. Because, I mean, I think that Richard Belzer wrote a book called Hit List. And I think he handled about 300 and so. I think he stopped around there because he got the ones where he could get the most information to explain. But you go in there and you start reading this. I was just listening to one the other night, just the other night, not even 2 nights ago, doing research for a project. And I'm listening to this man in an old black and white film, probably somewhere around late 60, early 64, somewhere around in there, early, close to it, which I dearly love to get that kind of information, because the closer to it you are, the less bastardized it is, So he's talking about something he saw. He was I can't remember where he was. He was in the position at the time to look down on the grassy knoll and sees the shooter, and he explains what he saw. And I think he was the one that actually saw the guy walk with the rifle, take it apart, like basically in two pieces, hand it to another guy that's walking the other way, like two pickpocket kind of things, like where they pass each other and the other guy's going in the other direction now. And that guy put it in the box and stuck it in the electric box or whatever he stuck it in. And then that's when somebody else came and picked it up and took it in another direction. This guy's gone this way. He saw all that. Well, about 2-3 weeks after he saw that, his car went off it's a middle of the night, salesman, whatever he was, traveling. There's a lot of traffic and a bunch of people were involved, and his car goes off the bridge, dead.
Conspiracy is just two people that
400
agree to do something nefarious. That's a conspiracy.
400 stories like that. Tell me that they can't do it. Then there's that one guy, Steve. There's that one guy. You want to talk about conspiracies that can't happen? I will give you one name, and his name is Jolly West.
Yep.
And research all the cases he has been involved in. It will blow your mind. One of them was Jack Ruby. He visited him in his cell. After that, Ruby was yelling, "They gave me a shot. They gave me that instant cancer stuff." Remember that? And just I'm not going to say them all here, but he was involved in numerous cases that if you said the name of it, you'd know exactly what I was talking about. Boom, boom, boom. And there's an ME, a coroner ME, that you can say the same about. Very odd examinations, very odd reports. One of those was the Maryland case. And you wonder how they go that many decades. It's quite the thing. It's quite the thing, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah.
Don't tell me conspiracies can't happen. It's just two or more. Didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
2 or more? Mm-hmm. So, you know what else is a conspiracy? Cryptids and Bigfoot. All these people are lying through all these decades, Steve. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. There's nobody missing out of any of the parks. There's nobody missing. Now, here's the thing that I have to say that also boggles my mind, Stephen. What are you doing in the swamp? Who's there? You see all these things. I don't know. Well, what are you doing in there? Steve knows I have traumatic events that happened to me in a little place, a lovely little place, amply named, called the Dismal Swamp. And if you're from there, I do apologize, but I lived through it too, so I earned the right to say that I was there in the early 70s, I think it was. And I seen some stuff. And that's both of them, I believe, are in my book. But it's just not a very welcoming a swamp. I just don't know. I just don't know how people do it. And to give you an idea, here's a little bit. And we can take turns reading this, Steve, or just like we normally do. But I thought we'd throw out a little bit of information, and then we'll focus a little bit on one that a certain friend of ours from the 70s is focusing on, and then we can revisit it because it's still going on.
Is that our jacket wearing,
our turtleneck wearing,
sweater friend?
bell bottom,
he is turtleneck certified, sport jacket with the patches on the elbows. You have to have a special permit to wear those.
And he had it. Him and Peter Graves for sure. I don't know. I think some other people tried to fake it, but look, you got to pay attention to your 70s hosts, because I'm pretty darn sure, just like with the tie means something, the clip-on tie, like our friend D.B. Cooper left behind, and that evidence got him in the end. Whether he's gone or not, he got away with it, but it still told the tale. I believe anyway, in my opinion. We settled that a couple weeks ago, didn't we, Steve?
Yep.
And then you've got the equivalent. Um, it's this mess. Anyway, I'm moving on before I go off on another tangent. Here we go. This will be fun, Steve. Swampy things. What are you doing in the swamp?
Swampy things.
There's alligators and snakes and pythons and gibberish and ugh. It's pretty though, as long as you're not the.
Just don't try to swim in it.
No, but these things are in there, Steve. You see this? At any moment, one of these can pop out of the water.
Yeah, it's got red eyes.
Or one of those.
No good. Yeah.
One of those. Is that too loud?
No, not for me.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead. Dive right in. You ready?
The swamps, shrouded in darkness and mystery, evoke our deepest, most nightmarish visions. Within the shadows of the ancient cypress trees, elusive beasts may dwell. Unseen by most, but glimpsed by a fortunate few.
Yep.
I don't know how fortunate some of these.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I love that picture, though.
Yeah.
They're trying to.
That movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
I'm telling you what, dude. I'm telling you what.
Creature from the Black. Oh,
or
the
unfortunate
few. You were ahead of me there. You predicted what I was going to respond.
Can you imagine taking a lovely stroll through that, just hanging out in the swamp? Because one of these things can pop out.
The swamp thing from the comic books, or
you're gonna like this part.
The Toxic Avenger or something. Comic books often provide the first glimpse of swamp creatures to young readers, igniting their imaginations with tales of mysterious, lurking beasts.
Yep.
Indeed, Swamp Thing was an awesome comic book back in the day.
Yep.
DC
Red
Comics.
eyes, Steve. Red eyes. I'm telling you what. I think it depends on their mood, because you see them with both, just like the Dogmen, just like the Bigfoot, just like ghosts. Here you go. This bring back memories. So there you go.
Swamp monsters.
What is she doing in the
monsters
swamp?
Of pre-code horror comics. That's when they could, have the real deal in there. The pre-code, the Comics Code Authority.
Airboy.
That was when they had to clean things up. And the reason Congress was having hearings, they were going to shut down comic books because they were ruining America's youth. Yeah, okay. But so the comic book publishers got together, came up with the Comics Code Authority, the CCA, and decided to police themselves to get the government to F off, if you will. And it worked, but it changed comics forever. Find a pre-code horror comic and read it, and then find something after the code. It's like already getting Disneyfied, but there's some good stuff still out there.
Yeah. Look, some of them are old, some of them are new, but I was surprised I could have gone forever. There's a lot of swampy comic books out there, Steve. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of a newer one, but still. What are they doing in the swamp?
Yeah.
What are they doing in it?
Dressed like that? I mean, I'm not saying.
I don't get it. You're not dressed. I love this one. When witches summon.
Saying you're anything, but you're wearing the uniform.
You're wearing the Daisy uniform. But when witches summon, it reminded me a little bit of that. What was that? When ghosts attack and when demons make phone calls and all that stuff. It just sounds so funny. Beware when witches summon. And she's trying to tell him run. He's like, no, I have to fight you. The unseen, till death do they part, Steve.
Yep.
I love this one. It's just so cute. These are actual photos, folks. Actual photos taken by very brave people wandering the swamp and getting pictures of actual swamp monsters within the swamp. That's it. Look at the size of that one, Steve. Go ahead and hit it.
It's bigger than a light pole there. The lizard man of Scape Ore Swamp. That's in South Carolina. Yeah, there it is. A reptilian humanoid cryptid that has allegedly been seen in and around the Scape Ore Swamp in South Carolina. It is described as having green, scaly skin, sharp claws, and the ubiquitous red eyes that all these monsters have. If they've got red eyes,
look at the size of that booger, Steve.
It's something crazy. Yeah, look at that. That reminds me, when I lived in Washington State for a little bit, a lady that I knew up there had gone out to smoke a cigarette once about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And there was a street light across the street. It was in a suburban area. It was in Vancouver, Washington. And she saw something move between the street light, so it was that high. She looks over, and it is a praying mantis, taller than the street light. And she just stood there dumbfounded, and finally found herself rushed in to get her telephone camera and make a picture of it. Came back out and it was gone. But she swears that there was a praying mantis that blocked out the light briefly from the lamppost. And I would not want to encounter. I mean, these things are definitely no go. But can you imagine a praying mantis that big?
I just had one in the garden the other day. It was about 4 inches long. Now I like praying mantis. I love to sit there and look at them because to me they look like they're doing
8 or 9 feet
martial
tall.
arts and stuff.
Thank you.
Do what? I didn't hear you. What?
I wouldn't like one that's 8 or 9 feet tall.
No way. No way. And don't we have sightings of them driving UFOs and spaceships and TikToks and tickety-tacks and all that mess? We've had reports of, what do they call them though? They call them buggerboos or something insecticides or something.
Yeah.
Insecticides.
I don't know.
Human. What? Chat, help us out here. What are they called? Walking sticks? No. The alien. When it looks like a praying mantis, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they'll be the ones driving the ships, and the Greys are the one that gets out and snatches the folks, drags them back in.
I should know this. I've got a UFO.
They act like they're in charge. And they act like they're
in
charge because of the smart ones. They're the ones like the Air Force pilots to the you know what I'm saying? I'm not making this up. It's insectoids.
Insectoid. That
Isn't it insectoid,
right.
Henry?
Insectoid aliens. I don't.
Is that it?
Big buggy. Big.
It's
bugs.
probably right, but it might not be just my twisted head. I might be thinking of something else.
Moon bugs.
Reptilians. That's not it. There's so many kinds.
Insectilians. I don't.
No, that's the hybrids. We don't have time for hybrids. There's so many hybrids. The Nephilim came down and did the star. I just say it's all true. I don't know how it all hooks up, because again, the confusing part about this with the cryptids, especially the ones we're talking about tonight. Not this young man. I don't know what he is. Barkman or something. Again, actual photos taken right off the. No, somebody drew this and it's just wonderful. So I threw it in, but it's the different names. It's like if I saw a different kind of Bigfoot, we're talking, it's a Bigfoot first. It's like saying, okay, the canine species, but we have German Shepherds, and then you might have a German Shepherd poodle. You know what I mean? Hope to God not, but I'm sure there is. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like that, but they're all the same species. They just, I feel like that I'm not explaining it right, but it's why is it so confusing, And I think that's what keeps people arguing at these UFO dog man things, and and the eyes thing throws everybody off too. Well, mine had red eyes, so it's obviously not what I saw. No, they're different kinds.
Yeah. What you're trying to say is like all German Shepherds are dogs, but not all dogs are German Shepherds.
Right. And I'll say something like, and there may be a species of Bigfoot that I believe there's different kinds, because I've always, all my life I was told there were different types, and some are more, they stay in that dimension, whatever dimension it is, sideways, upside down, who knows, vibrational. Don't ask me to, ask Tesla. But they can crisscross out a whole lot easier. Not the other ones don't. They still have that ability, but they use their ability more here because they stay here and they're more acclimated to here, and have become a little bit more, I wouldn't say domesticated, but a little bit more, they've let all that aggressive stuff go to a certain point. Whereas the other ones are like full on, theirs goes up to 11 and usually stays on 10, and they come back and forth, and it's all about, just like the aliens, you'll have ones at a higher level or totally different place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is an actual photo taken. I'm joking. There's not a whole lot of actual photos of these things out there. You want to hit that one?
Yeah. In the dense, murky swamps of Honey Island, Louisiana, a creature of legends is said to roam. Known as the Honey Island Swamp Monster, this beast is described as a bipedal creature with gray hair, yellow eyes, and standing about 7 feet tall. I wouldn't doubt if there's not some of them that don't have red eyes, but it does say yellow
And what
eyes.
if it depends on their general mood?
Yeah, but
You know,
when it's pissed off, its
I
eyes
was
turn
taught.
red, red with rage.
I was looking at my boss the other day. She was counting money. Her eyes were as green as a frog. And all day long, they were blue hazily. But when she was counting money, they turned green. She looked at me. I said, your eyes, are you wearing contacts? It was that distinctive. Now, I don't know the correlation between counting money and her eyes turning, but here's the thing. So this is supposed to be what the honey, is it the honeydew monster? Honey something.
Honey Island monster.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't look sweet to me, but go ahead.
Also known as the Cajun Sasquatch and Le Bête Noire, is a purported ape-like humanoid cryptid creature believed to inhabit the Honey Island swamp in St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, first reported in 1963.
He's as old as I am, Steve.
Yep, same here. That's
same
year I was born.
JFK. I wonder if there's a connection.
Could be.
Hey, we'll have to look into it. Researchers! I mean,
get busy, folks.
After a while, your brain just starts snapping in different directions, like a rubber band. It's been pulled too many times. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that, I can believe he's around. Look at this fella here. I believe him too. This is why I don't go in the water, folks. You do not know what's in there.
Yeah,
and if
I
you
don't
already
go in water that I can't see the bottom, or that I can't touch the bottom.
Exactly. Exactly. These things are in the water. This is in the water, Steve. This is down there looking at your toes. This guy's in there in a swamp. So they got to be alpha cryptids to be living in a swamp. They're a little extra, This is the Rougarou. Look, go ahead. You ready?
Yeah. The Rougarou, often depicted in folklore art as a werewolf-like creature with glowing red eyes, there it is again, and sharp teeth. The Rougarou is often depicted in folklore art as a werewolf-like creature with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth. I think that one doubled.
Did it double up?
It's so scary they had to say it twice.
They had to say it twice. There you go.
And it's different. There's a Rougarou, which is more like a dogman type creature.
Yep.
And then a Loup-garou, which is a werewolf.
La Rougarou. Yeah. And a whole lot of stuff in between. And this guy's out there. Another actual photo. Yeah. This guy's out there in the swamp.
That's his driver's license picture.
Stay out of the swamp. This guy's there. He's in the bubbles. Anytime you see the swamp bubble. Did this one double too?
The skunk ape, also known as the Florida Bigfoot, is a cryptid reported to inhabit the swamps of Florida, especially in the Everglades.
Yep. Sorry, I cut the R off. R. I think a
pirate
came by and stole it. And no, I'm not even, no funny honey tonight. This is all natural. I'm just so tired. There you go. Cryptid
sightings, including those of swamp creatures, have been reported for decades. I caught it.
Did you? Ooh, you're good, Mr. Stockton. I like this guy. But look, he could be standing right there watching you walk by with your poodle and your, and you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know it. See, told you he's in the water. They can hold their breath, folks. You're not going to know they're there. And look, this one's got the red eyes. He's got the red eyes. They look a little sad, though. Yeah. He gives me those early werewolf kind of vibes, like he said. Wasn't there a Swamp Thing? Isn't this Swamp Thing? Wasn't there a show?
Yeah, there was.
And it was a guy that was real sad.
And it was a comic book and stuff like that, science fiction type novels. But it was a DC comic called Swamp Thing.
But wasn't his origin story where he was like, it's an unfortunate situation.
There was a melancholy about him. I can't remember.
Wasn't he like a human being that got turned? Did he get turned by a witch, or did he get bit by something,
or spilled chemicals on him, or something like that?
What was chat? Does anybody know the origin story of the Swamp Thing? Don't we have any comic book readers here? Anyway, I remember it being a show, I want to say early 90s, maybe mid 90s, I think, because I know my sons watched it for a short time there. But he always looked to me to be sad, he had a real deep voice, and he would, he was very conflicted.
Are you sure you're not thinking about Eeyore?
But isn't Hulk like that too? But Hulk was like that. Don't make me angry, you won't like it. He's just said he didn't want to be that way, just like the werewolf guy. The early werewolf. These later werewolves, their F jar's empty. They care less. They're going to rip you apart. Can't wait to do it. Some of them just rip you apart to see you fly up in the air. But the early guys had a whole moral confliction there. I wonder how many still do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, look at the Invisible Man. Can't wait to, rob a bank. Can't wait to, he's all about the evil part. They just embraced it. But there are those characters like my comic book. I had a brief stint with comic books because I was, I didn't have a lot of spending cash when I was a kid. So, I usually bought like ghost books, that's where I went. But later on, I started getting into them a little bit. And it was when everybody else was collecting them, everybody had their thing they were looking for, right? So we would go and do that. Believe me, we did Matchbox cards, Beanie Babies, it was a fad, So I started collecting the Spectre. And it's very funny because Rob Goodrow, our animal medium friend, he does the same, and we can talk about Spectre all day. But he was a police officer in the 50s that had gotten shot and killed, done wrong by a couple of gangsters. They shot him up, filled him full of lead, wrapped him up in chains, tied up his legs, put him in a 55-gallon drum barrel, I think it was, wrapped that in chains, put cement blocks in there, probably spit on it, and then they pushed it into the East River or some mess, and he went down there and he died. And once he died, he was in this purgatory thing because he had been walking the line a little bit, let's say, but he was basically a good guy, but he got caught up. So he had a chance to go back. His spirit could go back and he could fight the wrong, and he could undo the wrong he had done and he could stop others. So he had a big old, but he was conflicted as a ghost. And he, of course, he came back with like superpowers and stuff. So, origin story. Nobody knows. Godzilla. Vixen says that Godzilla is supposed to be an iguana hit by radio activity. True. I think there's quite a few like that, but I don't think Godzilla has remorse. Do you, Steve? Would you?
I don't think so. I think he's just pissed off.
He's remorseful at all. But this guy seems to be. Is what I'm saying. And I don't know what his, but I think wait. Henry's saying something. Hold on. Maybe we got to hear. Swamp Thing was a 70s movie with Adrienne Barbeau. I love Adrienne Barbeau. There's nobody sexier. Her and Fog should be, posters still, and her voice and everything else. And if I ever did a radio show, I would strive to just keep dialing everything. Do you sound like her? Hello. What was it? Montego Bay? I can't remember. But do you know the origin story? Was it a human? My question is this. Was he a human being that somehow got turned into this Swamp Thing creature and is now forced to live under the nasty swamp with the copperheads and the alligators and the mosquitoes? Or was he always a Swamp Thing that just has a heart, and can speak like a human? Okay.
Doesn't really say. Just the character is a swamp monster that resembles an anthropomorphic mound of vegetable matter and fights to protect the swamp home, the environment in general, and humanity from various supernatural or terrorist threats. His arch nemesis being the sorcerer Anton Arcane.
Very cool.
Doesn't really. I guess you'd have to go read the book to get the actual
Escape from
comic
LA
book version.
Yeah.
Lynn Ryan, the creator, came up with the idea while riding the subway in Queens, New York. I didn't have a title for it, so I just kept referring to it as that Swamp Thing I'm working on. That's how I got his name. Doesn't really say here.
Well, it sounds to me like he's more like a creature with a heart. And for some reason,
here we go. The Swamp Thing fought against evil as he sought the men who murdered his wife and caused his monster's transformation, as well as searching for a means to transform back into his human form. So
this is the vibe I was speaking.
We're getting there, but we still don't know exactly.
But there's a vibe. There's a vibration. Yeah, see, and I didn't even know it, and I could feel it.
Killed his wife and transformed him into a monster.
I knew there was a story, and I had a feeling he was a human trapped inside of a beast body, just like so many stories we've heard before, but I could feel it. I could tell with my intuition.
like the Hulk. Remember at the end, Bruce
Yeah.
Banner's were walking down the
Yeah.
road and the sad music's playing. Yeah, he was a tormented man.
Mm-hmm. I rest my case. Cisco still got it.
Kane in Kung Fu, just wandering the earth.
I love Kane and Kung Fu. Don't get me started on Kung Fu. I love Kung Fu. I love the end, where he has to lift the bar. I was like, oh, as a kid, I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, he
had to burn his arms to move the thing to get out of the cave. So he had this burn tattoo, and I'm like, that's a little excessive. It's a little excessive. I get it. I get the whole concept. Cool concept. But, there should be a guy with some cold cream or some colloidal silver or something on the other side. I'm like, here, now you get to walk the earth barefoot, but you don't have to burn along the way. It's crazy. So anyway, within the shadows of the ancient cypress trees, elusive beasts may dwell unseen by most. But there's always a chance. You could be one of the fortunate ones to see this guy, who we now know is a remorseful creature trying to find his way back to being human again. But then there's this guy, Steve. I think a lagoon is a swamp good as any. Little snippet of it. Little snippet.
Lucas, get to the beach entrance.
It's going in. There he is. The brave soul with the piranhas. The piranhas.
Hey!
Scared the shit out of me as a kid. I used to have nightmares about that.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I'm not going in the water. I'm not doing it. That's how you win. And I gotta say, the bandana blouse on this woman deserved an Oscar. Just gotta say. I don't know how much double stick tape they had back then. She's upside down like this.
Hey, Vixen, though.
Uh-oh.
Vixen, get your numbers in for the baby pool.
We need the time. They're making us pick minutes.
Date, weight, time.
And the Oscar goes to the bandanas. Come on, there he is. I'm telling you, he's in the water. He's in the water. You can't see him because he's under water. Hit him with the rock. Hit him with the rock. This is so sad. This is so sad.
No more. Let him go.
Let him go. Let him go. Gasping for like a fish out of water, Steve. Oh my God!
I'm saying what you do there.
No.
Let him go. Let him go. There he goes. There he goes to the bottom. To the bottom, Steve. I thought that was blood at first. It's seaweed. They don't show any blood. They didn't even have any holes in him. I don't know where he was shot. There he goes. There he goes. All gone. He would be covered in leeches, you hear me? That man. No, thank you. Wasn't that a tree? How about that? How about that? There you go. Just a little bit. And I think, I gotta say, I think that was a pretty well put together movie for its time. You know, They were there was a couple of different
You didn't win any awards for makeup or special effects or anything. It
that
should
blouse
have.
didn't get a thing. Wasn't even nominated. I don't understand it. That's 2 bandanas, folks. It was just it did its job. It showed up for work that day. So yeah, that was a trip. I think it was very well. There was a couple of different trailers that I could have picked from, and I sorted them through, tried to get you a little bit something so you can see a little bit of everything, because that was the best part there at the end. You know, he's just so you almost felt sorry for him, and he jumps up on the boat as you saw and just whoops her right off the boat. Now, why they were there, of course, you know, her doctor dude, investigator. It's always this guy with a dream dragging some chick into the jungle or some mess.
Yeah.
But wasn't this my big question? Is this? There was a movie. I don't think it was this one, because if I recall, the boat was larger and it was more of a flat pontoon type of thing, and it had cattle on it. And the cow somehow falls off into the water, and the piranha eat him so fast, and just the cow skeleton floats to the
I
surface.
remember seeing that. That scared me too.
What
Along
was that?
with quicksand, I was afraid of
Yeah.
piranhas.
Yes.
We had,
yes.
water on our property. There was a lake nearby. There could be piranhas down there. You didn't.
Mhm.
What was that? Was it maybe?
I don't know. I
Tarzan
always thought it
movie or
was this,
something?
but once
yeah,
I
you
saw them,
the animal go in there, and then the frenzy with the piranha, and
might
then
have been in the
just like
beginning.
the spine or something floating.
Yeah, just it floats up like a whole cow, but no meat on it. Just the skeleton, all attached, the head and all. I think maybe it's a steer and the horns were on it too.
Yeah,
I don't know. But that was my
research.
introduction to piranha fish, and you know, of course, all the snakes, and they're always introduced. And then there's the mosquitoes when you get out. And then I saw this. Now this one doesn't have any sound, so I'm going to play it. But because it has sound, but it's a song, and I don't want to copyright on it. So, but I wanted to show you what the darn thing looked like. I think this is it. Is this the right one? Let me see what this looks like. Be sure. Yeah, that's
Would
it.
that have been the 60s, you think? Or 50s?
What'd you say? The 60s, yeah. For what? When he first saw the honey.
Piranha. Could it have been from 1972? There was a film called Piranha.
No. That was way further on. This one was black and white, kind of in the same theme. It might have even been in the beginning, but they weren't in the Amazon. Were they in the Amazon in this one? The Creature from the Black Lagoon? That wasn't the Amazon. I think they were in the Amazon when it happened. You know, and I don't think it was anything like, Hope and Crosby go to Amazon or anything. I think it was more like older.
Well, 1978.
But I thought it was a Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think there was something
Maybe
swimming
it
around.
was.
Swimming around down there. Now I'm going to play this. I'm going to cut the sound because, like I said, it's a song. But here's a little bit of the beautiful surroundings that we're talking about. And I'm looking at these things all day long, and there's houses that are built like right smack dab in the middle of these places, and they're just floating. One had a floating outhouse that was detached away from the cabin.
Come good from a floating outhouse.
And it had a walking bridge with nothing on the sides or anything else, just a little walking path that also floated on some kind of barrels, and to get to the outhouse. And I'm thinking 3:00 in the morning, you got a slight case of the food poisoning or something. That could be a bad day, falling in there, and you got alligators sitting in your outhouse, got there before you or something. What living in this would be near impossible almost, wouldn't you think? And then we've got all those stories, Steve, of all those people. Here's one. All those people escaping into the swamp during the Civil War and stuff, and whole squadrons of people disappearing. And it's just, not knocking anybody who lives out in Louisiana. I'm sure that, you know what you're doing, but I'm just going to go vote no on that for me.
Yep.
I'm just
Put me
hard
down
no.
for a bag of nope too.
Bag of nope, because mosquitoes alone, just that's not, you're a little nearsighted. You take a step off a bridge, you fall into a nest of water moccasins, and you look above you, you get away from that, look above, there's quicksand for you or some kind of mess, marshy. I'm sure they got their own special breed of stuff out there. But how about you guys in the chat? Never swim, you can't see the bottom. That's true. I don't know. People live in it all the time, but I just don't know how you survive. It just be so hot and muggy, and you know, just the bugs alone. There's got to be special breed of bugs that we don't even never heard of. Never heard of. But I'll tell you what, I bet you this guy has. Are you ready, Steve, for Mr. Nemoy to tell us all about the honey
Yes, please.
sugar smack apparently a Sasquatch monster of some sort. But they each have something a little bit different. You know, I did find that out today too.
Upside the head.
Right, like the skunk ape is something I think completely different from a Bigfoot. Would you concur on that?
It's a regional thing, but I think there's more differences than just where it is. I think.
Yeah, I think that isn't that one also akin to some kind of lab escape, or like you said, a train tipping over, maybe, or something along those lines. All right, could very well be. All right, so let's listen to what Leonard, what Mr. Nemoy knows about this mess, because I bet you it's at least a pig in a poke more than I know. Here we go.
Swamps inspire fear in many minds.
I'm gonna get some hot water. I'll be right back, guys.
Dark and damp, they are full of mystery and creatures that slither in the mud. An experienced guide entered Louisiana's Honey Island swamp one fall day in 1973. The outing would become the stuff nightmares are made of. Normally, the trek held few terrors for the guide. Even the lethal alligator was rarely a problem for an experienced outdoorsman. The guide would discover something else lurking in these quiet waters, something that struck his boat. Is it possible that an unknown creature lives on the edge of man's civilized world? The Honey Island swamp is only an hour's drive from New Orleans. Once entered, however, it is the forest primeval. Deep within the Honey Island swamp, a creature described as half man, half beast has been tracked. For the hunter, as well as the hunted, the search is a dangerous game.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
There is a land of endless winter where the air is thin and clean, with peaks soaring 5 miles high to form the icy roof of the world, the Himalayas. The nomad Sherpas who tend their flocks on harsh alpine meadows believe they are not alone in the wilderness. They know the mountains are gods, and that the gods have spawned good and evil spirits who keep watch from the highest crags. The most frightening of these spirits is the man-beast the Sherpa call Yeti. Western men call him the abominable snowman. Abominable because legend says he kills those foolish enough to enter his frozen world. Sir Edmund Hillary had heard of the abominable snowman, but along with Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, he challenged the elements and the unknown to scale Mount Everest in 1953. Hillary would bravely return years later to search for the monster, but would find nothing. Other places in the world have secrets to tell, and there are other men fascinated by mystery. One such place is America's Pacific Northwest. One such man is Peter Byrne. Like the Himalayas, this is a high and lonely land, as yet unvanquished by the steady surge of humanity called progress. Byrne once hunted game in the foothills of the Himalayas, where he became fascinated with accounts of the Yeti. Now he roams the Northwest, substituting camera for gun, in search of another man-like beast, Bigfoot. Men of strong character have challenged this wilderness before. In 1924, a group of rugged miners staked a claim near Mount St. Helens in Washington state. They reported that early one morning, they were attacked by giant rock-throwing beasts. The battle lasted hours. The miners thought they had killed one of the creatures, but no trace was ever found. Bigfoot and the abominable snowman have much in common. Perhaps Bigfoot migrated here across the ancient land bridge that once joined Asia with North America. A world away from the mountains is the urbane and colorful city of New Orleans. Yet less than 40 miles from the Superdome, concrete and steel give way again to wilderness. Called Honey Island Swamp, 27,000 acres of sluggish streams, still ponds, and dense subtropical forest make up another of the world's great remaining primitive areas. Life on the edge of this vast Mississippi Delta bayou seems prosaic enough, with comfortable old homes punctuating lush farmland. In the little towns and farmhouses, however, stories are exchanged about a creature said to lurk deep within the swamp. Few outsiders ever hear them, perhaps for good reason. Ted Williams farms a small plot of land near Honey Island. He also traps muskrat and mink. One day, it appeared he'd been trapped himself.
First time I ever saw it was standing plumb still like a stump. Went on a trap line, and I stopped after I realized it wasn't a stump. I know it wasn't supposed to be there. And it run. When I stopped, it run. And it was a dark gray, about 7 foot high. And it jumped a bayou. That's the first sighting I ever saw. Well, the next time I seen them was they swimming the river, 2 of them. And one of them was bigger than the other, and one of them was faster than the other, and they swim just like a human. Them long overhand strokes. I tried to get one of them to look at me, and the other one run off, got out of the way, and the other one never would look at me. And I could have shot it, but I wouldn't do it on account it wouldn't look at me. It looked too much like a human to me. Broad shoulders, and arms hang down below its knees. Hands looked almost like a human. Well, I don't like to talk about it because people don't believe what you say, what you've seen. And I don't like to be called a liar. Nobody do.
There are those who scoff at Ted Williams and say his story is beyond belief, beyond comprehension. The swamp is undeniably vast, however, and still largely unexplored. It could hide an incredible secret for a very long time. Ted Williams is not the only one to confess seeing something frightening in the swamp. While some still prefer to keep quiet, others have begun a systematic search for the creature.
At this time, we're well within the interior of Honey Island Swamp, and you can tell by our surroundings here, it's a pretty desolate area. This is one of the main spots here that we're at now. When we came through going to the camp and we first encountered this creature was in this very area right here.
Harlan Ford is a retired air traffic controller who has lived near the swamp for 20 years.
Going to the camp, pitching through this ravine right here is where we found where it had been leading off of this ridge, coming right through this little ravine bottom on this wet ground. And this is where we first found its tracks, and it was watered about 50 yards over at this creek over here. And at no time did we find any tracks where it had gone in the water. But once it would get to this water's edge, just as a bear would do or something, then I guess it would let down to drink. And that's when we would find the heavy clawed front feet of this creature. One evening late, just about dusk dark, a friend of mine, we encountered eyes. They were yellow or ambrish colored, real wide apart. So this friend of mine, Jim Hartzog, he took a gun, went into this area, and to try to kill whatever it was. And he says that he came face to face with this thing. It looked something like 7 foot tall, and he fired on it with using a headlight. But he said when he did, the eyes went out. Well, probably what happened, it turned and ran, and he shot at it one more time. And but we went back the next day and checked for sign and blood, but we didn't find any. So we figured Jim missed it that night. The last sign that we've had, or anybody has had, of this creature, and this is within the last 4 months, was on the sandbar where the thing crossed the river, crossed the sandbar, and left footprints on it. That was found by a member of the Louisiana Wildlife Fish Commission. And that's been the very last contact we've had with it in this area.
Men are hunting the creature with guns. It seems unlikely the next encounter will be a peaceful one. If finally cornered, what will the creature do? Honey Island Swamp has been largely ignored by men and seemingly forgotten by time. Monster hunter Harlan Ford is among those who believe a prehistoric relative of man may have been isolated here ages ago, developing in its own way, unmolested by the winds of evolutionary change. Ford is pressing his search deeper into the swamp. He's walking where few men before him have gone. Traditional scientists have largely ignored the reports of monster sightings. Ford hopes to come up with evidence that will change their minds. A track, obviously fresh. It resembles nothing that is known to inhabit the swamp. Clearly, the track was not made by a man. Ford believes he must move deeper still into the swamp. Darkness is approaching, however, and Ford is a prudent man. The tracks ascribed to the monster give Louisiana state naturalist George Stevens a clue to its size.
From what we can find out, from the tracks we've found in the woods, I would say that he's about, well, from the young to the old. It's hard to estimate how large the young are, but if something like this has a 10 or 12-inch track, and if he puts enough weight on that track to bury in the sand or the mud so deep, then you can estimate something about what he might weigh. So I'd say a full-grown male adult probably would weigh better than 400 pounds, stand about 7, maybe 8 feet tall, and be almost completely covered with hair.
A frightening picture, but it will take more than plaster casts of three-toed webbed feet to convince the skeptical. Michael Nahey has his own ideas of what the monster might look like. Nahey is a professional makeup artist in New Orleans. He was commissioned to study the available evidence on the creature and devise a model to match eyewitness accounts. The feet were constructed to exactly match one recent set of tracks. The face mask couldn't be as accurate. It does, however, match the descriptions of several eyewitnesses. We still don't know where the creature came from, how it has avoided man for so long, or how it survives in the hostile world of Honey Island Swamp. If a man can survive in the bayou without tools or fire, it follows that a man-like creature can. Major Gavin Storter is an Army Ranger and specialist in swamp survival. We challenged him to spend some time in the bayou and evaluate his chances of lasting very long.
As long as you can overcome your fear of it and try to understand what's there, usually have very little problems as far as the food sources go, or negotiating, moving, or anything else. And the biggest thing I would be concerned with would be the plant life. What plants would could afford me an obstacle, or would afford me an obstacle should I have to move around or try to move around after dark. I would also look for food sources, both animal and plant life, and the feasibility of catching animals. To live and remain healthy, you'd have to spend almost all waking hours, just like an animal, gathering food. Most of the plant life is edible if you can get it past your mouth. There's palm hearts, which are very good, very tasty. There's a lot of lily-type plants that have large roots that are very edible. Taste a lot like radishes or turnips.
If the swamp monster does exist, it must have had a long time to adapt to its environment. Major Storter's experience suggests that the creature would be omnivorous, including everything from ants to leaves to large animals in its diet.
Hard no for me.
It
You know,
is
think
clear that
about
only with
how much he would have
cunning
to
and
eat.
strength
How many ants
could a large creature endure very
would a
long.
Bigfoot eat if a Bigfoot
As
could
far as the
eat
insect
ants?
life goes, there would be a lot of insects that could be
Just want to say hi to Mud. Mud's one of my mods
Or
over on
abundance.
Missing Person
Welcome,
Mystery.
Mud.
How you doing,
Welcome.
Mud?
Turtles.
Good
Just
to see you.
subbed over
Welcome
here.
in.
Possums.
Thank you. Welcome
armadillos
aboard, Choo
that
Choo.
could be captured and eaten.
And thank you, Vixen Doe. They've taken it. I can't find it again, but thank you so much for that wonderful contribution to the show. Goes right to the show. Thank you so much. We love you.
Major Storter teaches that
And
a man's
Mud, get your
inhibitions can
vote
be
in for the
overcome,
baby pool
that
to
whatever
win
he
some
needs
signed
for
Steve
basic
Stockton
got it.
survival
books.
is available to him in the swamp.
Need
Thank you, Vixen.
the day that you think the baby will be born, the date rather, the weight, and then
The
the
monster
day,
would
the
have no
hour.
problem with squeamishness.
In a minute.
It would, however, have to roam the swamp
An hour,
almost
minute.
constantly.
Look what we
in
got,
search of
Steve.
its
Thank
next
you,
meal,
Vixen.
and would
Thank
be
you,
roaming
Vixen.
even
Goes right
now.
to Cisco.
The incessant need
Goes
to
right to
hunt
StreamYard.
might explain the creature's apparently aggressive behavior.
Where it goes. YouTube.
There are other large
Thank you
predators
so much.
with
Houston.
which the monster would have to compete for food.
Is it Houston or
It is
Houston?
difficult
Welcome
to imagine,
aboard.
however,
New sub.
that a creature supposedly 8 feet tall and cunning enough to outwit humans would have natural enemies. Man alone seems capable of posing a serious threat to a creature as clever and aggressive as this one is supposed to be. Men are clever
Sister.
and aggressive too.
That's what I'm
The
saying,
threat
Tim. Good
becomes
point.
more real as interest in the swamp mystery increases.
In or out, Steve. They're probably eating when they come over
Nature's
here if they're
balance is
materialized or whatever you want to
So
call it.
far, however, only a few men have penetrated deep into Honey Island Swamp.
Now I'm
Man
eating
and
shortbread.
monster
I'm
are not
sorry,
in
guys.
direct
I'm just starving.
competition for food.
Love these shows.
It is possible to assume that as men slowly encroach on the swamp, these legendary creatures will be in retreat. There are those who have reason to believe that someday someone will get hurt.
My wife and I were going on a fishing trip about 4 years ago. And about 9 o'clock that night, well, I heard this peculiar noise that screamed out down the river, I'd say a half a mile away.
Harry Ford and his wife were about to spend the most terrifying night of their lives.
No.
My wife wanted me to build a fire, so I
That's
was out
fire.
gathering up
I
wood.
would have built a fire already, a great bigger.
And it screamed
Or
out
getting
this
those-
time it was closer.
Wrapping
I'd
that
say it was
rag around the log,
300
making you a
yards
torch.
close this time.
You know, time to be playing.
It really scared her, and it scared me. I tried not to let her know it scared me, you know, but so I went ahead and kept on building fires. And less than 10 minutes later, it squalled again. And this time it was right on top of us, you know.
Just put- There, now you're talking. See?
Is that it growling
almost
like
shook
that?
the leaves
Yeah.
off the trees.
Yeah, that's not Mr. Nimoy. That's the Bigfoots. Big feet. The swamp
It might have been his
the
corduroys
honey badger,
rubbing
whatever
together.
it's called.
Honey badger.
Now they got burning down the whole damn forest. It's like me looking for trying to get that damn spider, Steve. This happens often in my I'll get him, I swear I'll get him. With a big letter and can't
No
air
one
spray.
really knows.
Going
If
after
we
the
are on a
spider.
collision course, man and
I
monster,
about burned a
then it will
post
be
down one
tragic for
time
both.
trying to dispatch a
It
black
would be
widow with
pity
a
if it
lighter
took
and a
such
can of
tragedy
hairspray.
to finally solve the mystery of the Honey Island monster.
It was the same. He can't even hear me. Oh, it's funny. Oh my God.
Mankind may have evolved from a swamp like this eons ago. Perhaps we left a part of ourselves behind.
That's not
I
us.
know what
Now,
I saw, and I know what
no.
we got on. And
This man
since
means
then, we don't
business,
sleep in
Steve.
that camp without a nylon rope on the door or without a loaded gun.
I agree.
From my
I agree.
standpoint,
Yeah,
I'll
you can tell
relate it
this guy
just like
don't
it
mess
is.
around.
And if people believe it, they believe it. If they don't, they don't. We can't
That's
control
the way
what
I
people
feel.
think. But whatever it is, it's still in there.
If he's
You
in there,
can
he
take
ain't
and
happy.
Walk in there today, and where you walk at today in there, I would say that there's spots in there no man has ever walked on before. It's that remote, and therefore that whatever this is that exists, I don't say it's a monster. I don't know what it is, but whatever this is, if it prowls and continues to prowl at night in a swamp area this huge, it could stay in there another 200 or 300 years and not be located.
It is easier to explain the existence of a hitherto unknown creature in Honey Island swamp than to understand the apparent indifference of scientists to evidence and eyewitness accounts. What is needed is a thorough, objective search for the man-like creature that has been reported here. It will not further our progress to turn our backs on what may well be our past.
Sounds pissed off.
Well, there it is. That's for you, Vixen. Thank you, baby. Well, Leonard's done it again, Steve. What do you think? What do you think? This is your dark little alley, my friend. I'm following you. I'm walking behind you. I got one hand.
Like I said, if just one sighting, just one report is true, then that's all it takes. Is just one.
Yeah, I agree. It's like anything else. But again, I think it's a big problem that we're overlooking. It's like when we talk about the overlapping, the guys at the picnic table. You know what I mean by that? 1973, they're each talking about, I've been doing this 25 years. I've been in it 23 years. I've been doing it. You know, some guy jumped in there 32. The granddaddy of them all had footprints in his, big old Bigfoot footprints. One guy in a rocking chair that had spent the weekend, I think it was a Memorial weekend. I don't know if it was a holiday for sure, but he spent the weekend with the whole family at Bigfoot. Did he not, Steve? And they'd become so fond of him, he had become aware, or at least under the impression, that some of the Bigfoot were trying to get him hitched up with, I guess, the ugly daughter or something. And he was getting a little nervous. So he remembered he had some, was it skulls? Was it
Snuff.
the
Yeah,
packets? Or was it snuff? Was it
no,
snuff or
it's
was it the
snuff from
packs?
back in the day. It was in
Shared
the
it up.
1920s. Albert
Yeah.
Osman was the guy's name.
Go
They
see. I'm
picked him up,
lying to you.
drug him out of his tent, sleeping bag and all, carried him off in the woods and kept him, I think, for about 2 weeks. And they were curious about his snuff. There was a mama Bigfoot and a daddy Bigfoot and 2 kid Bigfoots that would like climb trees.
And they were trying to pawn him off to the older daughter,
the
wasn't it?
daddy was out hunting, and the mama was curious about the snuff, and I think that's how he made his escape. He gave him snuff, and it made him sick, and he took off.
Yeah, they sneezed. They're sneezing so bad or sick, and I understand because that's one thing I always think of. Do you guys think like this? I know I'm loony as a jaybird, but I think of stuff like that. If you get sick, and I guess you have a fever, so you can blame it on that. But I think about people sick on things like the Trail of Tears, or we think we're having a hard day because traffic's a little slow or something. It ruins. We become so sensitive, but these people would just trudge on. I've been doing a lot of looking into Valley Forge, and pick a time in history and you can find strength there, because here's why: if they didn't push through, we wouldn't be here. So of course there is. Somebody survived it, or nobody be here. And that goes for the same for the Bigfoots and the swamp monsters and the anything really, unless this is extinct, dinosaurs. But even some of them are still alive, and I think some of those are cryptid. Steve, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. Like the giant praying mantis that I talked about. I've heard stories about Chicken Man, the Cockroach Man, a human-sized cockroach. Can you imagine that?
No, that's just going a little bit too far.
I think it was in New York, but
move on to the next one.
Expect, yeah.
Move right on.
As you said on my radio show a couple of weeks ago, there's all kinds of shit out there that we don't know about. We're
here to uncover it,
as we think we are. Sometimes there's stuff out there that nobody.
We're not top of the food chain either.
Far enough back out in the woods, there ain't no telling what you're gonna run across.
Good Lord have mercy. Listen, that's something else you learn in history too, and the paranormal.
I've seen bugs that I couldn't identify before. Look it up in the encyclopedia, and it was like this, and it had stripes like that, and it had wings and 6 legs, and ain't no bug like that. But I was, attacked by
bugs. I've seen driving home as a bartender. Now look, I didn't drink when I worked. I wasn't one of those bartenders. I saw a lot of that, and I was never a fan. Listen, I've been with people in different forms of
back
addiction.
when I rode a Harley, I ate some bugs, and some of them felt like they were about that big.
Yeah. Not on purpose.
I don't know.
I've eaten a few on purpose too. Chocolate covered ants. I've had that. I've had some,
had bees,
other things I'll never admit to.
Had fried grasshoppers. Boy, that was nasty. Mealworms.
I had an ex-father-in-law that spent a lot of time in Okinawa, Japan, and he was one of those. If it smelled bad, he goes, "Here, smell this," or taste this, So I remember Christmas, the happiest Christmas I've ever seen him. He was a funny little guy, tough as nails. Him and I got along great. I love him to death. He was military's old top sergeant. Anyway, I dug him. He was the best part of that whole marriage. But anyway, other than my son. And he'd eat stuff like raw, the squid. He'd be one of those guys eating the octopus and letting it go down his throat, kind of, or fried spider on a stick, fried tarantula on a stick or something. He'd eat that mess. Octopus, all kind of thing, oysters, the shell, just name it, So one Christmas we bought him. There's a soda. Maybe the chat remembers. Can't remember the name of the soda. Jones's maybe, and they have weird flavored sodas. So we got them the Thanksgiving special.
It was Jones soda. They had a Thanksgiving flavor that tasted like turkey and stuffing. And
yep, that's the one.
Never tried
cranberries and some other kind of god awful mess, and they tasted like it, Steve. It green bean casserole.
Yep.
And they were all different like that. It's like you'd go right around the table, and it had that. I think at one point, strawberry cheesecake dessert. No, I mean, it went from one end to the other. Apple pie, something or other. Some of them weren't so bad, but it just messed with your head because of these flavors. Now, Kat can talk about. Kat, drop the name of that soda you were drinking the other day. She was drinking a soda, sent me a picture, and said that she thought of my the summer event special that we're doing, the Revolutionary Rewind. We're doing our history event with bringing in ghosts and Revolutionary War ghosts and the strange mystery stories that happened. Even Washington had not one, not two, but 3 different spiritual
telling what cathedral was there?
things
Doctor
that he
Enough?
went through.
Is it Doctor Enough in the little green bottles? Do they still make that?
The which one?
Oh, Mountain Dew Liberty Chill. I hadn't heard of it. They used to make a thing called Doctor Enough that was popular in Tennessee. It was like twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine or something.
I don't remember that. I remember when Jolt came out, but I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Jolt
But
Cola.
the one that Kat's
sugar,
posted.
Caffeine.
How many different flavors was that? In one can 50 flavors in one can. Can you imagine the chemicals? That's a chemical parade right there. That's just the white coats that sat around a table at the lunch break right there. That they probably invented that during the lockdown. They didn't have anything else to. How many flavors can we put in one can? How do we do it? So can you imagine they probably put it in some kind of time?
What are the flavors though? Wool, dirty socks.
She was reading them off. She was like, okay, I taste cotton candy, pineapple. There's a hint of this. She was really pulling them apart. And I started, at first I was very intrigued. And then I was like, man, I'd like to try that. And then I went into a phase of, because there's 50 flavors. So it took a while. And, and I was reading it in a live chat we were in. And she was reading them off. And I can't remember them all. It was like cotton candy, grape soda, something. I don't know. But she's just wonderful at that. And she can throw details up faster than I can print my name. So she's putting up all this stuff. And I'm slowly going through this phase of withdrawal from it. It's like first I really wanted to try it. I was intrigued by the can. And then she starts naming flavors. And I'm like, man, that's right. And then I start thinking, how the hell are they doing that? The amount of chemicals that must be in that can of soda to present something like that. It took them 2 years, Steve, and a panel of, I think it was 28 scientists in lab coats sitting around at the Frito-Lay Doritos to try to make sure that when you bit a Dorito, this is an actual fact, when you bit into a Dorito, you would taste that flavor instantaneously. It would taste like whatever flavor was posted, but then it dissipates so quick that the bite into the chip gives you that corn chippy flavor, and then it's gone. You have to have another. A panel sat around to try to figure out how to chemically make that happen so you'll eat more chips, but remember that burst of flavor and have to have it again. There's a little bit of darkness behind the chip industry when they say you can't eat just one.
Yep.
They know what they're saying. They're telling you right up front. So that's that one. Let's see what else I got in the let's see what I can pull out of the Pandora's box here. Oh, okay, that's a good one. All right. Well, this is a short but sweet, but I think it presents effective, Steve. I really do, because it is supposedly the man himself. Is that the right one? Yeah. A little clip, just a little short clip. Hopefully we'll get away with it. If not, I'll find out in the morning. And
1863, her grandfather Harlan Ford was the first to report seeing a strange creature in the Honey Island swamp.
There he is. There's the man.
Yeah, he's the man that
castings of its tracks. Since
there it
then,
is.
Tales of sightings of a hairy, human-like monster have multiplied and become local lore.
I personally believe that there's something back there. Have I ever seen it? No.
Have I ever seen it? No. Well, I'll tell you what. Steve sent me over a couple things, and it does give a couple more details of let's see. Gosh, it's been a couple hours since I put this together. I'll be honest with you, I forget what's on here. Let's pull it up and find out. See, what do you think?
Yeah,
might as well.
Might as well.
If I hit the right button. Oop. Okay, well, here's that one I was talking about, Champ. Had you heard anything about this one? Well, this is not Champ.
The
This is an
Lake
actual.
Champlain monster. Champ.
This is, yep.
Said to inhabit Lake Champlain. This creature is often described as resembling a plesiosaur. Plesiosaur. From Indonesia.
I think you got to lean into it.
Plesiosaur.
Now, this is not an actual photo of
His
Champ
driver's license picture.
or a or a plesiosaur. It is but I'm sure it is an actual photo taken off of somebody's neighborhood trail cam. When you say, Steve, with your
Looks like
expertise, it's quite possible.
My expert opinion.
Your expert opinion. It's either that or a composite by an artist unknown.
Yeah,
you decide. We can't tell you. You have to decide. Hey, welcome in, Cam. Welcome in. All right, let's see what's next. Look at how well I've done the writing this time, Steve. I'm getting hold of it. Or it's not mad at me. It's no longer mad at me anymore. It's all lined up and on the exact page, not cut in half. There you go.
In the dense, murky swamps of Honey Island, Louisiana, a creature of legend is said to roam. Known as the Honey Island Swamp Monster, this beast is described as a bipedal creature with gray hair, yellow eyes, and standing about 7 feet tall. The legend dates back to the early 20th century, but it's
I can't promise that's continued. Hold on. Okay,
yeah.
It's not. Sorry. And there's cut off. I spoke too soon.
Harlan Ford, a retired air traffic controller, and his friend Billy Mills were exploring the Honey Island swamp when they stumbled upon large webbed footprints unlike anything they had ever seen. Intrigued and a bit unnerved, they decided to further investigate. I'm guessing at the
It's cut off about. It's cut off on the bottom. I spoke too soon. But see, pride goeth before a fall. We proved it here today.
They decided to investigate further. There you go.
That's to the best of our knowledge.
They decided to turn and run. Now, as they ventured deeper into the swamp, they claimed to have seen the creature itself standing amongst the cypress trees. It was a brief but terrifying encounter, with the creature quickly disappearing into the dense foliage. It's like leaves and shit.
Yeah, foliage, which will be turning quickly. I guarantee it. I'll say it here tonight and risk the chance of looking like an idiot next week. I'm gonna bet you in the next 2 weeks leaves start turning in people's yards because listen. The birds were early. The baby birds were early. The ducks were early. The geese, well, I don't know. They're all wild here because local been messing
with. And I saw
geese.
A squirrel fall off the roof here. I don't know what that was all about, but I'm sure that's some kind of sign. If you look back in folklore, old wives' tale.
The caterpillar is playing a violin outside your morning before the sun rises.
Early fall. There you go. An early fall. The squirrel fell off the roof.
Yep. The broom fell in the kitchen the other day. Do you think that had anything to do with that? Means company's coming. Maybe that, maybe it's like the broom effect instead of the butterfly effect.
Could be.
Maybe it has some kind of witchy poo stuff. I'm telling you, Halloween's coming early. I think this one's going to be a doozy because I think somebody has fallen asleep in the control tower at CERN.
Look at that. Somebody sent Henry Nelson a mouse nest. It was in his mailbox today.
Who, what? Did you really? I never get anything.
I don't think anybody sent it to him. I embellished that part, but he says he had a mouse nest.
Nobody ever sends me anything like that. Did it have a stamp on it?
Yeah, did it have a stamp and a cancellation?
Did it have a stamp right on it?
In the cancellation where it was sent from. I'm just ribbing your head.
They used to mail babies, Stephen.
Yep.
Did you know that?
I've heard
they used to mail babies. They used to give the mailman a couple of stamps, hand him a bottle or whatever. Put the baby in the. You remember when the mailman used to have the slung over bag where it went over one shoulder? It looked like a big hobo bag filled with mail. They'd just walk it, on their beat or whatever.
David Olson says the Canadian honkers started migration 2 weeks ago. Yeah, here in Massachusetts, somewhere we were driving the other day, it was all fine.
Is that early? I don't know nothing about Canadians and their honkers.
100 of those Canadian geese just.
Where's Lindsay?
Wiggling around out in the field.
She's a Canadian girl. She's out there in Ontario way.
Devils in Oak Ridge twice a year, coming and going. Things poop everywhere. You've heard the saying "poop like a goose." They do it.
We have
Just
Canadian geese all over the place. We're not even Canadian. This is Jersey. This is the Jersey Shore. But I think they followed the bennies down here from New York City. They brought them in from the border up there, and they forgot to take them back, and they just stayed here. Wawa's got a big old Canadian goose up there, supposedly a Jersey, store, and means East Coast, all this other stuff, and it's got a big old Canadian. So we see you. We see you.
Henry
Welcome
says
in.
it was
I don't
a
know anything
mouse
about Canadian
with a
honker.
live mouse. I think he got it from Temu. They probably ordered something, and that's what
Did you get with a live mouse in it? Do they have those? Can you buy one, get one
He
free?
got one in the mailbox, so I guess they do.
Holding a little stamp in its little hand.
Now, when I was a kid, you could order spider monkeys, little teacup Pomeranians and stuff out of the back of comic books. You could order live animals at alligators.
Listen, don't get me started on shipping live animals, Stephen. I'd rather see them. Well, I don't even want to say the male and the baby, but I think that's horrific. This went on a long time. This is an actual fact. I'll pull right up off the inner tubes. You could slap a stamp on your kid and mail them to Aunt Fanny. Didn't matter how far. I think they did it by the pound. Have you ever seen this, Steve?
I've never heard it.
Back me up. Oh, for love of Pete. That's it. I'm going in. Wait, I have to prove it. Babies mailed. Hold on.
Hey,
everybody hold tight.
Chickens. We got baby chickens in the mail.
Start around a row your boat or something. Talk amongst yourselves in the chat just for a second. I have to pull this up. In the years, because it went on for quite a while.
History.com, when people used the postal service to mail their children. In the early days of U.S. Parcel Service, there weren't clear guidelines about what you could and couldn't mail. In January 1913, one Ohio couple took advantage of the USPS new parcel service to make a very special delivery. Their infant son, the Biggs, that was their last name, paid 15 cents for his stamps and an unknown amount to insure him for $50, then handed him over to the mailman, who dropped the boy off at his grandmother's house about a mile away.
How about it?
And I'll
pull it right up here.
I've heard about everything now. There's the article on history.com.
Now.
Yep, there it is.
Yep. And there's more than one case. This is absolutely, when I was looking into this, there was more than one. It wasn't like a one-off. You know what I mean? People did this. And there's a whole article. Oh, man, I hope I didn't just lose that last thing. But there was whole articles about different experiences that, people had, how long some people were mailing the babies, how they took care of them, who took care of them. They expected the postman.
This guy that was investigating here found about 7 instances of people mailing children between 1913 and 1915, beginning with a baby in Ohio. It wasn't common to mail your children, yet for long distances, it would have been cheaper to buy the stamps to send a kid by railway mail than to buy him a ticket on a passenger train.
Ain't that something? See, I don't steer you wrong.
It says they weren't handing them over to strangers. Don't worry. In rural areas, many families knew their mailman well.
Ain't that something, though?
In the case of May Pierstorff, parents sent her to her grandparents' house 73 miles away in February 1914. The postal worker took her by railway mail train. It was a relative. And the Idaho family paid 53 cents for the stamps they put on their nearly 6-year-old daughter's coat. Yet after the Postmaster General Albert S. Burleson heard about this incident, as well as another inquiry someone had made that month about mailing children, he officially banned postal workers from accepting humans as mail. That was in 1914. But it didn't stop people. A year later, a woman mailed her 6-year-old daughter from her home in Florida to her father's home in Virginia. At 720 miles, it was the longest postal trip of any child that's been identified, and cost 15 cents in stamps.
Wow. Hold on, I'm checking on something right.
Well, it says people used to be different. Boy, ain't that the truth.
Yep. See if I can. I'm trying to block this.
You better behave or I'm going to mail you to your grandpa.
Yeah, just you slap on a couple
Put it on their
samples trying to
coat.
get through this.
Put
See
15
what it
cents
is.
on their coat and off they went.
Oh, I'm trying to pull up this
Frightening to
little
think
bit
about.
of a interview here. It's a couple people. We might even know a few of them, I'm telling you, when we've been in here. Just a minute or two of this little doc here to finish us out.
And yeah, Kathina saying people used to send their 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds by train. That was the thing. You could buy a ticket, put your kid on a train, and then just hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to learn here, folks. I'll tell you what, I got a feeling to do a field promotion, Steve. So hang on one second. And
Stand by.
I'm
Please
going to
stand by.
go ahead. Stand by. We're going to do live in the field promotions here for a new mod. I think I still remember how to do this.
Who are we modding?
There we go. We'll find out in just a second. Let's drum roll.
As soon as they speak, who is it?
I think so. I think I did it right.
Scott's Life's here.
Oh, is he? Terrific.
Hey, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Scott. How you doing, Sugar? We're doing in the field live promotions
I'm still
here.
trying to figure
I
out
missed
who
you,
got
buddy. I'm so glad you're all right. I was thinking of you yesterday. I did it again.
Some of it was good, even.
There you go. All right, let's do this last one. We're almost done. Did we read this one yet? I've done
I think I
forgotten.
already read that one. Yep, because I remember foliage tripped me up there.
Oh, the foliage. Yeah. That set us off on a spin like that. Good Lord. What happened? Oh, let me tell you this real quick. So last night, I missed telling you all this when we were going through the Green Dragon. The Green Dragon, of course, being the tavern that the newly built to kind of sort of replicate the Green Dragon that the Sons of Liberty met at in the early 1760s and throughout. So why did I bring this up? So when you're going through that, you get these little tidbits of information, I think, that are so interesting about history. So we're going through one tour through the Green Dragon as it is now, and across the street, of course, is the Bell in Hand, which actually is as old. They just moved it from where it was up about a block. And Samuel Adams actually did drink beer there, and the guys did because it was there. So they were talking about how things that the streets and the taverns really were a rough place, and it was so bad at one point in time. Now, how many of you guys, I bet you Vixen knows this one, how many of you guys have ever seen the old pewter mugs? Not the beer steins like you would think, for the German Oktoberfest and stuff, but the ones that they had in the colonial days, the ones that Paul Revere made himself. Of course, he was a silversmith, but he did work in pewter. So you see these big mugs right there. Everybody was drinking ale and, whatever in. Sorry about that. And I have actually held some that were replicas. I'm sure not the actual thing, where you looked at had a glass bottom, Steve. It was a pewter mug, but had a glass bottom. And it had initials on there. Do you know why that's there? I just thought it was a fancy way.
Drink with somebody else's. I don't know.
When I first picked it up, I just thought it was a neat way to make a mug. I actually thought something about it held, something about the metal and it'd hold the beer colder or something. I didn't know. So anyway, it just was a brief thing that went through my head, and I never thought more about it. Well, in this little clip last night, we learned that it was so bad and the bars were so rough that they didn't even want to take a second drinking their beer and having their vision blocked so they could see right through the bottom of their mug in case somebody was coming up to cold cock them.
Can't sneak up on me. You got a hole in my beer mug.
I freaking love that stuff.
About that.
How about that? I was very excited. So that was for last night, but there you go. Great show last night. We had a good time. There you go, Steve. Can you see that one?
Yeah.
It's almost cut off. Almost cut off.
Yeah. Over the years, numerous sightings have been reported. In 1974, Ford and Mills returned to the swamp and found more footprints, which they cast in plaster. These casts showed a distinct webbed foot, adding credibility to their claims. Locals have also reported seeing the creature, describing it as having a foul odor and moving swiftly through the swamp.
Very cool.
Hey, David Olson.
Hey, David. Welcome in. Welcome in. Did we notice who got the, there you go. Guess who got it?
Who
No
got it?
promotion. He's always in
Oh,
there
Henry
helping,
Nelson.
throwing out
Welcome
information.
to the
We
Mod
appreciate
Squad,
you.
Henry.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Congratulations. Oh, that's great. That's so much fun. I love doing that. Okay, thank you. Welcome, Henry. We got Black Ops mods here. They meet like when do y'all meet? Every Saturday afternoon and every other Tuesday.
They'll
Just to,
teach you the secret handshake and give you one
yeah,
of the
the decoder ring.
decoder rings. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cisco. So you get that just so you can figure out what the hell I'm talking about, because half time I don't. So I depend on my mods to understand. Joking. So did we get this one yet? The Honey Island Monster. We're still. He's making me hungry.
No.
All this honey.
The Honey Island Swamp Monster remains one of Louisiana's most enduring legends, captivating the imaginations of those who hear its tale. Whether a product of folklore or a real undiscovered creature, the mystery of the Honey Island Swamp Monster continues to intrigue and terrify. Scary stuff.
I believe it. Now here's my favorite, because you know Cabin 22 and all. And if you haven't heard Cabin 22, there's a playlist on there I highly recommend. And if not, we have a Halloween. What do you call that, Steve? We do it every year.
Annual Halloween something or other.
An annual. We have a tradition. And we get together and we get together and we listen to the audio version of my book, Cabin 22. And it has Rougarous in it, witches, spells, paranormal investigation, crime investigation, a murder mystery, moonshiners, I think black cats, pumpkins, bats, rats, villains,
children,
heroes, animals,
a golf cart,
vampire kids,
and including the kitchen sink.
Soul Reapers and Soul Collectors and Armageddon.
Offering is in there.
Native Americans, smudging rednecks, Cajuns, and more, I believe. Candy corn. That's the most frightening part of the whole thing. Candy corn. So join us this Halloween. Anybody who has been here and he's heard the story has always enjoyed it. So I wrote it, and it's fun. And Steve is a little part, making it all happen and forcing me through the bed, I believe it was.
David Olson says, I don't know where y'all are from, but I live in Western Washington, and the Sasquatch is part of the culture there. Indeed.
Exactly.
I used to live in the Pacific Northwest. I've been to Squatch Fest, Longview, Washington, a couple of times.
Yep.
I had a sighting up there in
it's another part of
St.
my
Helens, Oregon, and had another saw a track in the Gifford Pinchot Forest there in Washington.
And a big old rat named Old
Yeller. No, wait, that's
no. Wait a minute. See, I can't even remember the name of my own characters because I've got this thing. As soon as I try to think of a name, it disappears. What was his name? Old Bob? Not Old Bob. Old Bob is somebody else.
What was the rat's name?
Old
I can't.
Buck. Yep. Ugh.
Buck.
I like Buck. Buck's a good guy. All right. So this is La Rougarou from Louisiana. Can you see that one?
Rougarou, Louisiana. Description: a werewolf-like creature from Cajun folklore, said to inhabit the swamps and bayous. Stories of the Rougarou have been passed down through generations, with many claiming to have seen the creature during full moons. These legends and sightings have been a part of local folklore for years, adding a mysterious charm to the swamps they inhabit.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the difference between a Rougarou and a Loup-garou? I thought a Loup-garou was a werewolf.
I think it all depends on who you're talking to. It's very much similar
to how much they've had to drink.
Well, yeah. And I think it's very similar to, again, what we always say, your culture, what you're used to, what your tribe, what your people, your family, how you grew up, how you heard the stories.
Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch, Sabe. Just depends on the culture and what
the woodland people, the people of the forest, the hairy people, the people, all of those. I think it's all, again, it's my point from the very beginning of the show. It's all the same, but what we call them is in our minds, putting it in like everything is separate, is compartmentalizing something. I think that should be in a bigger room and maybe not have, so many solid walls and, maybe not have a glass ceiling, but have room to to breathe and to allow all the changes, because if you've been separated and you have two of the same species grow up in two different places, like say one at the North Pole and one at the equator in Jamaica or something, you're going to have two different, over a couple of decades. I don't even think it would take that long, Steve. You're going to acclimate to your surroundings. Your camouflage, if you're, natural camouflage is going to change. I mean, I've got squirrels in New Jersey.
About somebody. That's Mairead that you're talking about. I can't remember her last name, but Mairead the mermaid.
Yep.
She's still around. I think she got married or was about to get married or something like that.
Yeah, she's looking
on
looking
Facebook
good.
And stuff.
I think I saw her out there on the Facebook today. But it's as different as, okay, you got two twin Rougarous, dogmen, Bigfoots. They're born. And somehow they're separated. One goes down the river like Moses in a basket, okay? Winds up in the North Pole. Another dogman baby twin winds up in Jamaica. So the one that goes to the North Pole, of course, he's over just a few years, its own body is going to start acclimating to the climate, and everything else is going to become more white because of the camouflage. Just like my squirrels, their ears and their tails start turning white, right before winter, because so they can be more camouflaged. They've acclimated. And the squirrels in Alabama look different than the ones in New Jersey. The ones in New Jersey look different than the ones in, Tennessee and Washington, I'm sure, And I think the same is with the Bigfoot and the dogmen and everything else, because the one in Jamaica, then they meet, some show like Unsolved Mysteries comes along and reunites lost loves, and they meet at the airport hugging. You got one, Rastafarian, La Rougarou, in a Hawaiian shirt, and just a real fun loving, probably wearing flip-flops. And this other guy is coming out with a parka and, white, and it's a couple of decades. And that's what's happening. We have solved the mystery. That's what's happened. They're all the same. Yeti is just the long lost brother of, the Bigfoot in, Honey Island or whatever, or, the guy in Tennessee that's, a little bit more rustic, or the one running through the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
Because they're out there. We don't doubt that at all. Steve and I have both grown up with the understanding that there's so much more out there, which is why we've really enjoyed our journeys, I think, in this, haven't you? It's made it so much more spicy. You know what I mean?
It was, if we had all the answers, the journey wouldn't have been half as much fun.
Right. All right. I got one last story before we go. And I can read one. Steve can read one. It's just a short story, but it's based on the eyewitness of someone who bumped into a Rougarou. You want to do it? You still got more in you?
I got it.
Okay.
In the heart of Louisiana bayou, under the eerie glow of a full moon, Marie LeBlanc found herself face to face with a legendary Rougarou. It was a humid summer night in 1973, and Marie, a local herbalist, had ventured deep into the swamp to gather rare plants. As she navigated the murky waters, a chilling howl pierced the stillness, sending shivers down her spine.
That would do it, though. You're out there in the middle of nowhere, just, harvesting your mushrooms and getting your mugwort and your, mullein and such. And all of a sudden,
Suddenly, from the shadows, emerged a towering figure with glowing red eyes and matted fur. The creature's snarl revealed sharp, glistening teeth, and its breath was hot and rancid. Marie's heart pounded as she realized she was staring at the Rougarou, the werewolf-like beast of Cajun folklore. Frozen in terror, she watched as the creature circled her, its eyes never leaving hers. Just as it seemed ready to pounce, a distant church bell tolled midnight, and the Rougarou let out a final bone-chilling howl before vanishing into the darkness. Whew. Saved by the bell, just in the nick of time.
Saved by the bell. Love it.
Marie stumbled back to her village, her mind reeling from the encounter. She shared her story with the elders, who nodded knowingly, recounting their own tales of the Rougarou. From that night on, Marie never ventured into the swamp alone, forever haunted by the memory of those glowing red eyes and the beast that lurked in the shadows. Scary. There's the red eyes again.
There you go. I mean, there it is. Absolutely. Look at you, Ted showing off his new blue wrench up in here. Again, the red eyes. And that's it. And I think it goes beyond, don't misunderstand. If anybody's out there and not heard me tell the stories before, I think it's a whole lot more than eye shine. I think it's a whole lot more than cats have it. We're way beyond that, where cats are, I'm not saying anybody's saying that. I'm just saying we're aware, and that it's more than that. That's part of it. Of course you're going to have a differential in all the trail cams, or if you're a hunter, and you recognize by the height and the shape and the way it glows and how it hits and how light reflects. And it's just different. I think it has more to do with energy and the general mood of the of the owner of the eyes, because we've got Bigfoots coming at people with green glowing. Mostly I think it's more of the yellow you're hearing, but here lately, folks, I'm hearing a lot of red. And I think it's because they're more angry. But why wouldn't they be? Everything on this earth right now is more angry. It's a lot harder to keep your lights on and not be absorbed by the darkness that's being thrown at you. So just always remember that your light is stronger than any darkness anybody can throw at you, and it starts in you. So know that, because I'll tell you what, every creature that we talked about tonight, I don't believe any creature we spoke of tonight is a fable or a made up thing or non-existent. I think those are all out there. I have very little doubt. And Steve, with all his work in missing persons and that beautiful thing you brought up in the beginning, all of that, I agree. And I think it was extremely thorough, but I think there's more of it than people are willing to admit. And I think it's a lot of different things. And I think there's human beings thrown in there too. But I think a lot of the cases that we would focus on, Steve, that couldn't be one of those things, couldn't be just a serial killer or a really clever maniac. I think it is more of all the above, aliens, out of all the things that people blame it on, I don't think there's a whole lot of Bigfoot out there, but it's taking people, because here's the thing. Most of the ones, I believe, they stay here and not jump back and forth to spend most of their time over wherever over there is. I think that they try to stay away from people as much as possible. And it's not so much as easy for me to accept them as, again, depending on the group, depending on the one you're talking about, because they're all different, I'm sure, or they're, going and grabbing our women to mate with, because they've seen what human beings are like, and they're so into nature and the more natural, more of a Native American feel to them, that I don't think they'd want anything to mix in the blood. You know what I mean? I just don't, it doesn't fit the persona of that cryptid, whatever you want to call them. But there are Indian tribes who did that. But again, different. And they keep trying to make them the same. And I think in a lot of ways they are the same as some of the tribes, but not all. Because even
they're the same but different.
Yeah, even them you can't put all, You can't say Native American and everybody acted the same, just like everything else. So allow for that and allow for the eyes. And on our way out this door, I have a real quick one here, but I think it's really special to end it on. It's a little clip. Oh, that's not the right spot. My gosh. At least I'm consistent. Yep, this is it. Here's an eyewitness account from the man. One of the men who have seen the honey monster, honey island. There we go. This is a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot. Most recently, it's a minute 30 seconds, and we're out.
When it looks human, but you're not quite sure it's human, you don't know whether to shoot or shoot or run back to the house.
And there's just
He's
been
honest.
Too many people who have had some type of encounter to say that it's not out there. The Honey Island swamp monster is a creature that lives in the swamp. We believe that it still exists. It was first reported by my grandfather. He was the first one to report a sighting.
Love that.
That was back in 1974.
Look at that.
1963 that he first saw it. When they saw it, it was down on all fours. But when they heard their voices, like when they said, "What is that thing?" it stood up, turned and faced them. And they said it had long, grayish, dingy colored hair around its face and body.
It's like a three-toed Bigfoot.
Grandfather said it had tremendous shoulders.
It lives in the swamp.
And he said what he remembered most about it was its eyes. It had these very big amber-colored eyes. He said it looked right at him. And the face, he said it was so close to human, but not, it wasn't human. We've heard stories like there was an old circus train that derailed back in the 40s, and circus animals got out, and possibly it was a missing link or something made it with something else. Just for curiosity, I'd like to find more evidence. I guess because
why would you hang
so
out
many
here?
people say, "Oh, that's not true." I'd like to prove that it is.
Yep, your eyes change.
The best way to
I
burn
think it's a
fat
thing.
and get shredded.
Well, there you go. We don't need to get shredded tonight, by anything, especially like a Rougarou. But yeah, Cam's has got somebody here that used to do that. Now, I told you my boss just the other day was counting money. She turned around, her eyes were green. They're always blue, or more leaning to that like blue gray, and they were green. I'm like, are you wearing contacts? She's counting money. Maybe some people, maybe it's either your mood, or maybe you're a chameleon aspect or something like that. Now here, let me ask you this question, then we can move on out. But something I noticed while we were just watching that little clip there, these footprints this man had looked more like an alligator to me, almost like a webbed kind of look, not like a Bigfoot at all, Steve. So what if we just saw a picture that almost proved our little hypothesis, little theory here, that culture and climate and surroundings, you evolve to meet those and to survive your camouflage, whatever, your fur, the amount of fur, your protection, whatever. What if because it's hanging out in the swamp all the time, the feet became webbed over time?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
As an acclimation into the situation, because we don't know how long his kin had survived the swamp with the horrible swamp creatures and the oh my God, the leeches and the quicksand and the anaconda and what are those other the fish, the piranhas.
Yeah.
Woo, golly, mosquitoes and can you imagine the flies, the amount of flies and biting things? Everything wants to bite you there.
Yeah, you're a
what are you doing?
Warm-blooded smorgasbord when you're out there.
There you go. What you got going on this week? I have to tell you, Mr. Stockton, if you have not listened to Steve Stockton's radio show, I was on the other night with Lynn Monet, and I was listening today, dusting and cleaning the house. Had it on in the background. That was a good show. Yeah. And it was almost, I was there and I was looking, I didn't know what we were going to say next or talk about next. We were all over the place, but man, we had
I'm going to drop a link here.
Hey, Robert, welcome in.
You can download it. It's on all the podcatchers and stuff. There's a area there where you can support it if you want to. You can pay by the month or by the year, or you can listen for free. You can download it. Now they do keep them a couple weeks behind. It's on the Clyde Lewis Ground Zero Radio Network. So I think 46 is the newest one, but 45 was the one with Paranormal Hodgepodge with Cisco and Lynn Monet. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what, you had to give it
On the Trail of Dogman with Kenny Thibodeau from the North American Dogman Project, Haunted Denmark with Carrie A. The Jeremiah Scroll, CERN, and AI with preachers from the Sound of the Shofar Messianic Ministries. Nevaeh's Nightmare from Nashville. She was on a show. Her and Cisco split a show. Don Rogers of the After Dark Show. There's all kinds of good stuff on there. And again, you can listen to it live, broadcast live, Sunday nights, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time on groundzero.radio. Or you can listen to them after it's released to general stuff. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and for a little while, Google Podcasts. But I think those are getting ready to go away. But you can always catch it there at that link that I dropped. So enjoy it.
There you go. Here you go here. And you got you and Lee. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, Lee G and I are live every Wednesday night on From Beyond. That's basically it's a UFO, UAP, and related phenomena channel. But last week we covered UFOs, cryptids, and ghosts and the connection to all of them. And the one that I've got,
I like that too. That was Georgina, wasn't it? What was the thing he was on? The case he was on, the dad. They've got a radio show as well.
Yeah, it's, I can't think.
It was
of
an early one, and I think it had something to do with an exorcism. Wasn't he asked to go along? Either.
Yeah, he a long and storied career. We're Facebook friends. I was going to have him on my radio show after I played that this last week. Turned out he died in April of this year. Poor guy.
Oh gosh.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to
God
get in
bless him.
touch
He's
with
getting
his
the
son.
answers
They were
now,
a
isn't he?
father and son thing. I'm going to
Yep.
see if his son would come on talk. This week, kind of the same thing. It's UFOs, aliens, and the spirit world. So you got to come check it out. I mean, there are no answers. These are just suppositions.
Right.
But if we're
right.
seeking truth and enlightenment, we take a look at something different every week. Said we're kind of straying from just the UFO stuff into the spirit world, cryptids, ghosts, things like that. But the connection to
evidence.
UFOs and related phenomena. That's From Beyond, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, live with me and Lee G.
It does. It absolutely happens. That's video. That's genuine video evidence of a cat being abducted by a UFO. We just been slinging it out here like crazy, Steve. I don't know how much more evidence we can show. There's more things in heaven and earth, and there's a lot of different. There's stuff everywhere, and I'm telling you, it's there. I'm not sure it's under your bed.
Radio show. Katina, could you drop the link to my radio show, please? I think it hit it.
This one? No, wait a second. Did you put yours up here? Because I'm looking for it. I don't see
Person Mysteries, and I think it hit it. Even though I've got a wrench, I think it hit it.
It might have hit it. I have no control. I don't even know
what.
It
should have been right there where.
Wait,
right by where Robert.
That's
Lee
among
said
the
thanks.
missing. And this is Lee's. We're looking for the radio station, right?
Yep, there it is. Katina just dropped it. Ground zero.
All right, let me go back down here and get it.
Hang out there.
As you can see, there is no expense spared for this show, folks. I mean, we spare no expense here. The production that we have is absolutely mind-blowing, behind the scenes. So I have a full panel of monkeys in tuxedos and a barrel of bananas back there, and they're just pushing buttons as fast as they possibly can. The hamster's running on that wheel, just tired, but man, he's a trooper. So, well, there you go, guys. I think we covered him. I mean, I think I like I said, I was introduced to new, to new things and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, because honestly, I don't know how to express it. It's like I was thinking today, oh God, it's in trouble when I think about it, but I was kind of laughing to myself about the paranormal. And actually life is like, to me, I just envision this like long ass hallway filled with doors, and some of them have caution tape and all kind of stuff and locks all over them, and maybe scratch, whatever. Sometimes we go into these doors and we walk around and we learn a lot about it. We come back out and go, hey, that was great. I'm going to keep that. I like that. I dig it, so I'm going to learn a lot about that. So we might go digging into whatever. It could be Greek mythology, whatever. There's all these different paths we can take. And I've learned a lot about different cryptids and things like that. But the more I open more doors on that and I learn more about them and add them to my, hey, keep that door open. I want to learn more about it. Today, it's just, okay, so many of them are the same because I'm hearing these different names. Now, granted, your like old green eyes, I think is totally different, something different, and so, but when I'm hearing like the Honey Island monster, I don't know what I'm thinking, what I'm envisioning unless I read the story and the descriptions and get it put together. Like I learned about Mothman, totally different at the end of researching that than what going in. And then, introducing, you've been talking to me about, the man that went to Point Pleasant, John
Keel.
Thank you, Keel. And then I start digging into Keel, and I'm down. All of a sudden, I'm walking down this hallway. All these doors start opening. Some of the shit was scary. And I'm like, nope, not yet. Close that door a little bit. But I'm learning all these different things. But today, it was a lot of, wow, I thought that was a totally different, monster. And now we can kind of put them in that little bit loosely in the category. The Rougarou and the Dogman kind of in there. They might get along in that room for a little bit until we learn more. But a lot of these monsters that they're seeing in the swamp, I think they're just Bigfoot that is adjusted, like the Yeti, you know, or, you know, and people around the Yeti, that's normal to them. And look at all the ones in Japan and all around the world. We're just hitting the United States and we're ittle bitty. You imagine the stuff they got running around in the jungles of Africa. Lord have mercy, Stephen. It's been lovely. My love to Nick and everybody. Little man, tell him looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah, can't wait.
You know, and you know I'm here anytime.
Less than 3 weeks now.
And you know I'm here anytime. You know that. And chat, I love you. It was good seeing so many wonderful faces. If you would please do me the honor of hitting the like, and if you can subscribe, I could, you know, help me out. It doesn't cost a thing. Go in there and put a comment in the video after the fact. Come and tell me about your experiences that you've had. If you've seen these, what did you think about, you know, the things you saw tonight? What are you thinking this is? Do you think it's a Bigfoot that's kind of acclimated to its surroundings? Because I think that's an important conversation to have. Because again, Steve and I have been to conferences and meetings and interviews and books and studies and Fate magazine stories and everything else. And again, the big thing is the conversation always comes to a rumble, like a Hatfields and McCoy kind of thing. And I think we have to embrace how things are the same before we start arguing about how different they are. And that might work in life too. And don't forget, keep your lights on. The light starts with you, and it's more powerful than any darkness that's out there. Amen. Steve, I love you, baby. Good night, everybody. Let's see what we got on the way out.
We'll see you a little further on down the trail. Have a good night.
I know I got something good. Here we go. Maybe got something good for you. Here we go. We'll do a little spookster. Good night, darling. Good night, everybody. Keep your feet under the covers and your closet doors shut, because there are things that can bump in the night.